Cool. Now we should be live on YouTube with just a big old screen of. let's see. Oh, I got to get this out of here. Let's see if I could get this. Oh, hey.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, let us know if you could see us. I had some technical difficulties called drinking and riding my bike before I started going live.
What's up, guys?
Who's that? Was there a third voice in there?
I had my browser on. I
Mm.
muted it.
Oh yeah. Let me. I need to pop out the chat so I could see what everyone's saying. Let us know if you guys can hear and see us. I've of course turned this into a complete chaotic experience with the way I do everything, and now I have 3 windows open all over my screen. Yeah, no intro countdown. I couldn't. We were testing this out, trying to get everything going, so we skipped the intro. But I think we're there. I see Raymond, Patrick asking where the intro was. I think Pudgy said he thinks Rick made me cry already, and then we ruined the stream. So let's see. Patrick said, "Hey, Rick's. Tim's audio is a touch quiet. I'll turn that up. Let us know how Rick's is. Rick, say what up."
Fuck you, fuck you. Is it 10 o'clock yet? Is it 10 o'clock yet?
It's not.
Oh, sorry.
Let me figure out which window now that I have as our background. So, all right. I don't need to see this.
Spanky for sure, Pudgy. You know why.
Well, before I start messing around with the, oh, there it is.
Patrick, yo.
How can I do that not on the screen? Let's see. Not putting my passwords on the screen. Let's see if I could figure this out. Bear with me, guys. This is all my fault.
My volume's offensive? Roll it back a little
Oh,
bit.
there we go. Cool, cool, cool. Let's see how I can make your...
That's the last one.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
the end of...
Oh, this is that. This is starting backwards.
Yes. Google.
Ah, cool. And then I could shrink us down a little bit when we get going. But for now, we're fine. So we'll do a little introduction first. All right, guys. Let's see. Get this chat somewhere where I could see it. I'm doing the double. Did you have a
Nice,
triple?
right?
You had a triple monitor setup going tonight?
Hell yeah, bro.
Is that a laptop with two? Is it powering 2 monitors on each side?
No, I used the laptop just for the camera because I don't have a camera on my 2-screen setup. So I
Oh.
just loaded the laptop in.
Oh, they said audio's all good now. So I think, yeah, we're good. We should be good to go. So anyways, anyone who's new around here, this is, Rick Urbanowski. What you said, a commercial photographer since... Commercial photographer since
He
19...
keeps falling over.
Yeah, it fell over again. It's like the Beatles' Rubber Soul. That's what they loved about it, right? It just landed. That's a deep cut. But wait, you said commercial photographer since 1987 and
Yep.
cyclist since what year would that be?
Well, I rode before in high school a lot, and then I didn't ride again. Probably rode through college, so that's 85, and then I stopped till 2020. 2020 rather.
Huh.
2020, yeah. It's been maybe 2 years. Got back at bad back at ruptured. Doctor said you'd never ride a bike again. Turns out it's the best thing for you. And bacon is also the best. They don't know.
I was trying to remember, and I'm sure we talked about this the last time you were on the stream, and we probably talked about it because if you don't know, I went out and rode bikes in Philly. Me and my buddy Eric went to see Bob Dylan in Philly, and then me and Rick spent a day cruising around and getting completely shit-faced. Got a good ride in first, but we did.
It was fun. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a good ride.
I can't remember how you said you found the channel.
Well, I was watching Path Less Pedaled a lot. Um, it had to be a search, but I remember seeing you posting something about a Speedotron flash unit, and I commented on that.
Hmm.
And then it's something like, "Oh, I got a YouTube channel." So it might have been Instagram first,
Ah,
possibly.
yeah. Because I remember talking about the photography thing early on, which is the same way me and Pudgy, I think,
Yeah.
kind of connect. I think he realized Dirty River, but we kind of hooked up over like the camera stuff. But yeah, you knew the '70s camera stuff because you saw a Speedotron, and those are not very probably common anymore.
Yeah, I was yeah, I got a lot of old stuff.
I was actually before I came here, I was at Acronym Brewing, and I ran into the owner of Wadsworth Brewing, who I've been out to his brewery a bunch of times, and that's about 25, 30 miles from here. And all of a sudden, we always nerd out about beer. And then he was like, "Oh, by the way, I have a vintage camera collection." And started showing me pictures. And now when he was getting ready to leave, we're like, "Oh, now we have something else to talk about besides just beer." So it's like I
Oh,
love when that stuff happens.
what did he have? Or you didn't say it yet?
He was showing me he had a bunch of old, like he had a bunch of old cool, just cheap thrift store stuff like 110 cameras and like Instamatic type stuff. But then he had like Canon AE1s and a bunch of old SLRs as well, a bunch of
Cool.
Polaroids, just all kinds of stuff that he had picked up because it looked cool, and now he wants to get to learn how to use it. So I know you're anti-analog, but
Just because I had so much of it,
hmm,
like so much film, so many chemicals, so many lab trips to the lab. Yeah, I'm done with. But Russ posted something on his Discord the other day about a Pelican case Pioneer conversion he did, and it was an old video. It was an old video. It had to be at least 10 years old, and had a nice Linhof Technica 4x5 folding camera in his lap. Oh, that's the shit. There.
yeah,
If I got back in the film, that would be it. An old big.
yeah. I think we talked about this before in person, probably not on the stream, but Rick, who I bought
I
this
think you
building.
were drunk.
Yeah. Rick, who I bought the building off of, had no, you know, he didn't miss the film days at all because that was his career. It was a job, and and analog was way more work. And he put the effort into learning digital early on and, reaped the rewards of that where a lot of guys just got out of the business. So I totally understand if, there's no novelty to film to someone who had to work in that medium. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't get the same results. I mean, I can get the same results as I can. So I don't stay the need.
yeah. I'm trying to figure out if there's a setting I could change because your audio stops like the second you stop talking. It's almost like too
Oh,
iPhone like.
it's probably got uh peaking on here. I'll get to my setting.
Yeah, if you have a way just to keep it constant, if you see something, I'm not seeing anything on my end that I can change. Voice settings. Okay. Oh, that's all input stuff. You just need to breathe heavier between your sentences.
I could do that. I could hum the whole time.
Yeah, you just keep on. Hey, what's up? William said he found me through Terry B, which I had forgotten that. Yeah.
This might be better. Input sensitivity was on automatic.
Oh.
How was it now?
Yeah, it seems like it's not cutting you off the second you.
Better? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It's probably from when you have a bunch of people, so they're not overlapping, I'm guessing. Yeah, so one of the things I was curious about and is that you did what was the official name is actually the TD Five Boroughs?
Yeah, I guess it's TD Bank. I think that's what it is,
Oh,
TD
they're the
Bank.
sponsor. Okay, I
Yeah, yeah.
because when I was going to type in the title, I just considered it the New York Five Borough, and then I'm like, what do they call it? Do they type out five? So I Googled it and saw TD Five Borough. But I guess so. That was what 2 Sundays ago.
Correct. May 1st.
Yeah, May
Yep.
1st.
Mhm.
Starting off because I'm kind of fascinated by this because we don't have this where I live. So so for anyone who doesn't know, Rick is in the Philadelphia area. You took the train with your bike from Philly to New York.
Sort of. I got my car, put my bike on it, drove to Trenton, New Jersey,
Hmm.
and then took the train. I'm not even sure what line it was, but oh, it was Amtrak. I'm sorry, it was Amtrak to Penn Station in Manhattan. So that was my routine. Thank God I took my car, which I'll tell you about later. But I
Hmm.
really needed it at the end of the night.
Uh,
So
what is the train experience for people who are not like from the eastern corridors or anything like that can be a pain in the ass. Like we've been trying to plan for the Gap Trail CNO,
yeah,
and
yep.
we don't have stations in Cleveland anymore. So, or you know, I'm not even trying to say Akron because Akron hasn't had a station since probably 1950 or whatever. But
Yeah. Oh,
it's been
geez.
I mean, it's been a long, long. I mean, there's not even the remnants of passenger stations here. So, I
Oh
mean,
wow.
except in the Cuyahoga Valley, which are now like tourist things. But yeah. So, is it easy to do? Do you need to plan ahead? Do you need to book a spot for your bike, or can you show up and?
Well, it depends. My regional rail here in Philly, you can't carry a bike unless it's not during peak hours, not during the rush hours. So that's like 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Unless it's a folder. You can get a folding bike, you can put there anytime. So you can actually commute with a folding bike if you wanted. Amtrak, you do have to reserve.
Okay.
And and by the way, they have the worst bike racks. I almost killed myself getting it on, trying to get it in this thing. It's like a big meat locker or something. It's crazy. It doesn't even look like a bike rack. It's nuts.
And that's the one for
But
two bikes. There's like a car with two bikes you could put it on.
well, what it is one bike rack in either end of the car, basically, of the
Ah,
train car. Yeah. So yep. But going, getting the bike off the car, going into the Trenton station, I almost got kicked off the train in 5 minutes. It was so fast. I This lady started yelling at me. She's like, "Hurry up! Get on the train! Get on the train! It's over here!" And I'm like, "Where?" And she's screaming at me. And I'm said, "Stop yelling at me, lady!" She's like, "I'll yell you all you want." And this is the woman who works for Amtrak.
oh,
And I'm like, "Shut up, lady!" And she goes, "Did you tell me to shut up?" I'm like, "No, no, no! I didn't tell you to shut up because I knew I still had to get on the train."
yeah.
And I'm like, "Fuck!" And she goes, and then I got on the train, and I sit in my seat. I put the bike in the rack, pain in the ass, wrestling in this ridiculous rack, sit in the chair, and she goes walking by me, checking tickets. I said, "Listen, I'm sorry about the telling you to shut up thing." She goes, "Well, I'm glad you said you're sorry because you were about to be off at the next stop." She was going to kick me off. She got the
So it's a
train.
real good thing that you.
Yeah, that I had my, well, is even another reason because I was so late because I missed my train coming back. There was literally no trains to get me home from Trenton if I hadn't had my car with me because I got home. I didn't get there till midnight. I would have to
Ah.
stay in Trenton, New Jersey, which is like not good.
Hmm.
It's a bad place to be. So yeah,
Yeah. So we were like booking this Gap and CNO this year, and in the past they had a whole train car dedicated to it. So it was like no big deal. You walked on. They would like they had racks all around the train car, and if they didn't have room, you laid it on the ground. And now that's all gone. And I guess it's mostly because of COVID, and they said the demand was down. And we had to email like 1,000 people and trying to talk to Amtrak, which is something I've always been supportive. Their social media is killer. They like are on
yeah.
top of their game, is a nightmare. In Pittsburgh, they're only in the station between midnight and 6 a.m. So you have to stay up till midnight or get up really early in the morning to try and talk to anyone at the station.
Oh wow,
And so,
huh?
and Pittsburgh is the nearest like true Amtrak hub to Cleveland and Akron, which is seems ridiculous, right? Because the trains
Yeah,
go
yeah.
through here. But so that's why I was kind of curious what it would be like for you. And I heard David Hobby actually posted a thing on Twitter about trying to ride somewhere, and he was like, "So much for ever riding a bike on Amtrak again." And I didn't know what that meant, and so I was wondering if your experience had been
Wait,
similar.
David Hobby? You mean the strobist?
Yeah,
He's a cyclist.
I never knew it. And he was like, "I'm
No
done."
shit.
He's like, "I'm
Oh
done
wow,
with."
cool.
He's like, "I'm done with ever trying to put a bike on Amtrak again." And then he was talking about some very specific line in the Eastern Corridor, which I don't know, but
Oh, gotcha. No, no, overall it was good. I mean, it was only a few stops. It was expensive. I think it was 40 to get there and 80 to get out
oh, really?
of New York. Yeah. I don't understand why, but that's what it was. Yeah,
But
it was like 110, $120.
110, 120. But if you tried to
Yeah.
park anywhere in New York, you would probably be at about that price already, right?
Oh, hell yeah. And gas, getting up
Yeah.
there, tolls. And I just wanted I really wanted to leave my front door with my bike and not take the car.
How
But
far? How far
I
is
would have
Trenton?
had to go. Trenton for me is about only about like 20, 25 miles.
Oh, so
But I would
close.
have
Yeah.
hopped on a regional rail here and taken my regional rail to Trenton train station and then got Amtrak from there. That was my original plan. But if I had hopped the train here and taken it to Trenton, I would have got there literally 5 minutes before the train was ready to leave. And you just can't cut it that close
Yeah.
from that, with all those segments. So I better take my car. But
Claire
yeah.
just
So
said,
when I got, yeah,
real quick, Claire just said that the Amtrak Vermonter is really easy just to slap a bike on and go all the way to DC. And that's the problem with Amtrak is it's so different. It depends on what you're getting on. You have no idea, so you have to know before you try and do it, right? You can't just
what's Vermontier? Vermonter?
Vermont. I pronounced it Vermonter, but
Vermonter. Yeah.
you went real French there.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
Oh, the
Oh.
Vermontier.
Oh, where's my baguette? Um, but that's on my list of things to do. There's another guy I follow on YouTube, another guy, Tim, in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I'm gonna Amtrak it there. So I got a few trips planned, train to city, ride around the city, then come home that day,
so
that night.
and you said then so once you from Trenton, you had one transfer and then you went to Penn Station, or you
For
would have had it.
me, no, it was direct. I would
Okay.
have had to take one train to get to Trenton and then Amtrak to New York. That's was the
Uh,
original plan. But I just cut out the first train.
with how close that, and there was parking there in
Where?
Trenton.
Oh yeah, Trenton. Yeah, no big deal. Yeah, it was cheap too.
Pittsburgh doesn't have it
Um,
at their station for Amtrak. You can't park at.
what?
Yeah, you can't park there. It's like a basement of an old grand station that the station is all closed.
Oh my
So
God.
it's so sad what we've done to rail in this country. You know.
Oh man. Well, I'll tell you, I am really digging taking the bike on the train. It's like my favorite thing to do. It's so cool. I just feel like I'm an explorer, just going out and just going out for a day and just going really far. It's fun. You
When
know?
I watch that in either Europe or like in the East Coast, it just blows my mind because we just don't have it here. I'm like, I can only imagine like riding what Terry's done it a couple times, going way up into North New York and then hopping the
Oh
train and
yeah,
riding
yeah.
it back would just be so amazing. Yeah. And so you
And you're
said,
still
oh, good.
you're taking what you need. It's still that version of exploring, and just taking what you need to get through the day or the overnight or whatever. I should do an overnighter, really,
Yeah.
thinking about it.
And so you said Penn Station, so that's what's underneath Madison Square Garden now. So, right, that's
I think that's what it is,
yeah, because
or it's damn close to it. It's like next to it and down on the same level. I think that's what it is.
Penn Station when that got torn down is what started the preserving historical monuments in the country movement. Like once New Yorkers saw that Penn Station got torn down and they put up the super ugly Madison Square Garden, that's what like the whole revival of like preserving historical buildings came from. So
Hmm.
yeah, because it was a beautiful building like Grand Central, just
Yeah.
owned by the Penn, and yeah, it got torn down. Madison Square Garden went up, but I guess underground it's still the same train station or whatever. So,
It didn't seem like it. At least the parts I was in, it was just pretty like new and grungy. It
mm,
wasn't really nice at all. It's like we got 30th Street Station here in Philly that's gorgeous. They filmed a couple movies here and all that. It's just gorgeous. It's very ornate architecture and all that stuff. So, and Amtrak and Regional Rail runs out of 30th Street Station
hmm.
in Center City, Philly, near where we got drunk and almost fell down.
Ah. I think maybe the remnants of Penn Station in New York then are just where the subway lines came in, so it's all underground stuff. But yeah. Oh, then Claire said the Vermonter is just the name of the line. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And Pudgy said there's a, Riv dealer in Brooklyn. On the whole trip, my favorite part by far was Brooklyn, and I'm going to take another trip and just ride and drink in Brooklyn. That's my next thing, probably. So cool. And in fact, a client of mine, actually, we use her house for a, location for photo shoots. I just met her son who lives in Brooklyn, and he said we got to hook up when we go up there. I just saw him there on Sunday, so I met him on Sunday. was like,
Oh,
come on up
nice.
to Brooklyn, hang out. So yeah, it'd be cool.
Me and Aaron really liked riding in Brooklyn too. Manhattan, you could circle really easily because you could take the trail. There's a trail that runs all the way along the Hudson that's easy to ride. But once we
Yeah.
got over to Brooklyn, then we were just riding city bikes over there. We only rented bikes for a day, but we were
Mhm.
having a blast bombing around between Williamsburg and she had some of the. I've seen Terry ride through them. I don't know the name of the neighborhood, but it's now becoming like people are living in the old warehouses over there. And we went to a coffee shop she wanted to see, and yeah, it's
Oh
much
yeah.
more. Brooklyn's just much more manageable than Manhattan.
It, well, it's got just a nice vibe. Like the people are nice and the bars are just, low key and all. It's a much cooler place to be, I think, than Manhattan. But Manhattan was I spent after I missed the ferry and missed my train or got the late ferry and missed my train. I had to kill 6 hours in Manhattan. So I went all up and down those trails,
uh,
almost ran over a rat, all that shit,
oh,
all the stuff you do in New York.
like like I said before, Erin ended up jumping on the subway because we were way up in the Bronx, and she was like, "I don't want to ride." She's like, "I'm kind of done," and she's like, "I'm gonna figure out if I could take this rental bike on the subway," and she did, and it was kind of fun though because I got to go through Midtown, and I had been at a brewery, I'd been a couple places, I had a buzz, and I got to live out like my bike messenger fantasies of bombing through Midtown Manhattan, and I just found a guy who was crushing it, and I just like watched what he did and like didn't ride right on his wheel, gave him distance, but like was like when he jumped in the bike lane, I jumped in the bike lane. When he jumped on the road and ran the light, I did it, and I was like,
Nice.
had that one, half hour of just like pure, like, kind of
Cool.
like we were bombing through the
Cool.
street in Philly, but
Right. Well, that's what I did. I had no intention of riding New York at night, drunk and high. That was not my plan. But that's what I ended up doing. And it was totally a thing where it's like, this really sucks. I'm like, well, wait a minute. You want to do this anyway, so just make the best of it. And I had a lot of fun. It was cool.
yeah,
Stopped in some places.
I was saying on Terry's, I was watching, so talking about the five borough ride. The only thing I saw besides I had one friend from Akron or an acquaintance who was out there, but Terry Berenson was Twitch streaming the five borough ride, but he had a media pass, so he left early. They were in the
Way
first
early.
wave because how there's a bunch of waves, right? Bunch of different start times, or
Yeah, six waves. Yep.
okay,
I was the latest wave at 10:25, something like that.
okay. So he rode it, and he also rode fast, and then
Yes.
he was riding in this like tons of space. He was like interviewing people. He didn't even have to look where he was going type situation. And then he got to the after party, had a beer, and he was talking to the person he was with, who I don't remember. But he was like, I want to be on the ferry because it ends in Staten Island, right?
Right, right.
So he was like, I want to be on the ferry back to Manhattan by 1 p.m. Because he was like, it's going to become a nightmare after that. I went out for a ride after that, so I don't know if he pulled that off. But is that what caught you up? Is not being able to get?
When you got close to the end, it started to jam up so bad, it was insane. Like you could see the finish line, and it was another hour till you could get to the finish line, walking your bike,
Oh,
like
on the ride before you even
shoulder to
tried.
shoulder. Yes. And then you get to the finish line, and that's where all the after parties going on. But so you can make a right and then go have fun, or you can go straight to get your ferry and try and make your train. And it's a sea of people in both directions. And it's like there's no way. Like I couldn't even like think about trying to go somewhere. Just had to get in line for the ferry, and it was still way too late.
What time was
I
that?
had, I had a 6 o'clock train, so I got done around one, two. I got around three or so. So it was a 3 hour wait, 2.5 to 3 hour wait to get onto the ferry, and
Oh,
then 6 hours to kill in Manhattan.
oh
And I
man.
loved it. And I loved it.
I
It
did,
was so much fun. It was awesome. It was so cool.
does the Staten Island ferry stop running at some point, or would you be able to get on that no matter what?
I think it runs all the time. It was free for us that you might have had to charge you if I stayed late enough. But I wanted to get to Manhattan. I wanted to get close to Penn Station. I could if I really knew I was going to take a later train, I wanted to because I'm waiting in line. I'm like, all right, I better call and get another ticket. So
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, and my whatever it was, $80 ticket went down to like 30 because I got a midnight train.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, so I saved a few bucks. That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've gotten ahead of ourselves because like train nerding and subway nerding out, and I just love New York City. But we should probably back it up. And so you got off the train in the morning in Penn Station. You just said you had a 10:20 start time.
10:20 start time. I got there, I think at 10, and I had to find my way. It turned out it was I could have went just a few blocks and got because I see people, 4 or 5 blocks away. I see bikes going that way. But I said, I better go to where they're coming from. I kind of knew where the start was, but it was sort of a huge start because there were 6 waves and probably 4 or 5 blocks in between each wave. So I'm riding, trying to find the end of this way at the end of the start, and I finally did. But it was a long haul, so I had to go like 2 or 3 miles just to get to the start, and then get on the start again. So, but yeah, so that's what we had to do.
Yes, I hear I have your rig pulled up. Wait, this looks like it's in Chicago.
They all look the same.
No,
Is that racist?
doesn't that look like the Sears Tower in the background?
I know. That's well, right off to the left. Is that B&H?
Yeah,
No,
no.
that's
Oh,
not
they do
B&H.
have a green sign like that, but
Yeah, but that's the I know World Trade Center is right near there.
yeah,
Um, actually, I can tell you where the hell that was.
that really threw me for a second. I'm like, I know New York, and that's not a.
That's Chambers Street, wherever the hell that is.
Let's see.
I could tell by my GPS here.
Oh, it's the buildings in front of it that are throwing me off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not B&H. It sure as hell looks like B&H. Oh.
Is this where you picked up the? So is this Trenton here? Oh, you probably had a little bit of a delay before it
No,
all.
this is in New York.
This is where you got off in New York? No, the next one, that without the
That's
building.
Trenton. Yeah, that's Trenton waiting to get on the train. Yes.
Let's see if I've got this right now. If I go this way.
Yeah, the vertical with my bike in the foreground is waiting to get on the train.
Oh, okay. Okay, now I have you in New York. This is the wide angle. So this is probably before the ride, I'm guessing.
No, that's after it started, and it was at the end of the. I was at the end of the pack, so it was sparse. I could stop whenever I wanted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they were stopping. They were stopping. Cars from going. There were cops at every intersection. See the light up there? There's cops there stopping cars from going. So I'm at this intersection. I say, "Hey, can I park my bike in the middle here and just take a picture?" He's like, "Yeah, man, do whatever you want to do." They were
Yeah.
all so cool.
And then he
Really,
was
really
like,
nice.
kickstand, really?
He brought visual aids. See, what this does is this holds up your bike. See, you learned something.
Yeah, you don't need a shadow stand. You don't. Yeah.
Kickstand.
Did so? Oh, this is. We were talking about this in the Discord. So I bring it up when we have pictures of your bike up. Like when
Wait, Rusty called me a bunghole.
yeah.
Oh my God, you got like the meanest chat section in like on the internet.
Yeah, oh wow. See, you're usually on the other side of it, so it doesn't bother you so much.
Oh, shit.
I'm curious because you were talking about how they had like serious restrictions that were making you nervous about bags and stuff. So someone was like,
Yes.
put a basket, have everything open. I'm sure it was like we were all chatting about this, like probably a remnant of the terrorism type stuff and all that. Not remnant,
Right.
but just the way things have been. Did anybody check your bike? Did it seem like if you would have brought two Swift Zeitgeist like I ride with that are totally enclosed, would anyone have said anything to you?
Well, if you zoomed in on this shot here on my
Yeah.
front basket, there's actually C4 in there that I took just to see if I can get away with it.
So nobody checked your bike.
No, nobody checked my bike. Nobody checked my tickets. Nothing. There were people as we were riding in these groups, flying through the streets. People were coming on that didn't have, the placards, with your number or your name or
Yeah.
the skin on your helmet. I could have went here with all the bags I wanted and not paid and just rode.
Yeah.
Totally could have done that.
I don't know.
But it's a good cause, so who's going to do that?
You donated, and then if you wanted to go to the after party, you could have, and stuff like that. And
Yeah, yeah.
Terry showed his friend making that fake. He just copied someone else's number and printed it out and put it on his bike.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, grow a set.
Yeah. Oh, so this is the is this the Varanza Narrows bridge you're heading towards here?
No, Verrazano is much
Verrazano,
less.
that's how you say it.
That's the end. That's
Oh, that
basically
goes
where
to
it is.
Staten. That goes to Staten. That's the
Correct.
one you're
Yeah, that
never
goes.
allowed to ride. That's a
Yeah,
freeway
they got
basically.
this big thing about it, and they say it's this giant. Okay, oh, so that's the one you're looking at there. That is the where are we at here? Um, New York. No, wait, it doesn't help. Oh wow, yeah, it's not telling me. Yeah, it's just saying New York. That's the Bronx. Basically, it's right. It's right. It's actually going from Harlem into the Bronx, whatever bridge that is. It
Oh,
goes from
okay.
Harlem to the Bronx. Yeah. And that was nice. That's when you really that was like the first real like open. There's a video real close to this photo, and you
Oh,
see
yeah,
all the
here it is.
cars on the other side going, um, which was so cool. That was like my favorite thing. Had seen all these cars waiting in traffic going this way, and us just have owning the road and just going.
Oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah. So it wasn't as overboard crowded as some of the stuff looked like. Like when you were out riding, you could ride your bike. Like you weren't
Yeah, yeah.
always
It bottlenecked. I think three times where you actually had to stop, not counting the end. Like three times when we had to stop, and at some point I think we lost like 3 miles, and I think they rerouted because we were the last group, and if you have to get to a certain point by a certain time because they're going to open the roads up again, you have to be there. So I think they rerouted us to save some time. I think that's what
ah,
happened. We were all speculating near the end, but you know. But how cool is this? It was surreal.
yeah.
This is right before my drugs really kicked in. But later on,
So
it
these
was
are
like
edibles we're talking about.
this, well, yeah, tinctures, yeah, exactly. But yeah. But sure, it was so cool. It was just surreal. And they're having one in Philly in October, so I'm really psyched about that. But it's not that big a deal, I don't think. Because New York is something about like defying New York traffic and saying the bikes are taking over has a certain
Yeah.
appeal. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah, this one's cool too with the bridge in the background. Yeah, such a it looked like such a mix of people. Every photo I've seen is just like
Oh
there,
yeah,
there's people in kit. There's like the guy you took the photo of with his sweet was that a Le
the old
Mans?
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, an old tie bike. Yeah. I ended up when we were near the end and we got caught in a jam. I ended up hanging out with these fixie these New York fixie guys. I don't know what their deal was, but they were super cool. I'm like, how do you stop and stuff? How do you like? And they're totally walking me through it and stuff. They're just super nice, super chill. Yeah.
That goes with it. Like I've talked about this before, but everything I've ever said about New York, I'm like, everyone's like, oh, everyone there's a dick, and it's like, no, you're probably just in their way. Like they're probably walking to work, and you're just standing in the sidewalk like a tourist. Like if you step into a doorway and move out of the way, like I've said it before, anytime, especially pre-smartphone area, like I looked at a map or did anything, someone stopped to try and help me. Like people are people
Yeah.
everywhere you go, but
Yeah.
it's like one of the busiest cities in the world. Like if you do that at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday in the morning, you're just in people's way. So if someone like if you can't learn the flow of a city, that's on you. That's not on the people who live there. You know.
I
So
agree. Yeah.
yeah,
Same with the a few times. I mean, I did my best to stay in the right unless I was passing somebody. But couple times I got caught, and I would get the on your left, like not on your
yeah,
left. It was like on your left, that kind of thing. And I had it coming because I was where I wasn't supposed to be.
yeah.
But there was a lot of that. I got some footage. Here's this I was talking about the seeing the opposite side, seeing the cars buzzing by, and then back to nice bike land.
Friends don't let friends ride junk. Oh, this
Yeah.
looks
Oh,
like
that one. Yeah.
that looks like
That's
Aaron's
for
bike.
it's for a bike shop. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, so what is
Yeah.
yeah? What is this? This is like the it looks like a tunnel bridge type thing we're looking at here. Or is this a two-story,
Oh,
a double
yeah,
decker
this
bridge?
was no, that's one of the lower. There's cars above us going, and there's cars below us. It's like a triple decker bridge, I guess. I guess it was over water. I'm not sure, but this was everybody warned you about this little section here because see these ruts, there's like
Oh,
see
their
those grooves
expansion. Yeah,
that's expansion joints,
yeah.
yeah. Apparently people got seriously hurt in it last year, and they have marshals there telling people to slow down. And sure enough, a guy crashed right in front of me. He was down. Yep.
That happens in the pro racing I see all the time in Europe. There's stuff like that, and they're like if someone tries to go, and if they don't bunny hop it, your wheels will go right in. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. That's what it's. You can see how deep it is.
Oh wow, that's wild. Just this whole. Probably anytime I'm in New York and I end up on a bridge like this, I don't have any time to take it in because you're just trying not to, you know, crash a
Oh
car. Being
yeah, but just going at a nice easy pace. You know,
yeah.
you're trying to navigate either. You're just following. So that's Roosevelt Island.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's where the tram goes over to. So you're on the
Well, it's called the
Queensboro
West
Bridge.
Channel.
No?
Well, it's called the West Channel. So whatever bridge it is going over the West Channel.
Yeah, I think that's the Queensboro Bridge because
Okay.
that's where they have the tram. If you've ever seen that, you are the hang like it
Yeah,
looks like a cable
somebody
car.
pointed it out to me. Yep.
Because I last time I went over there just to ride that thing. It's free. It's like the Staten Island ferry. It's just a you know New York taxes cover it. It's like a
Yeah. It's a way to get around,
yeah
right?
yeah. That's the bridge. Okay, so it's right after. Yeah.
Oh, then they got the crowd coming up. Yeah, so we jammed up it. Oh, that next bit there, that's where my drugs kicked in right there. I'm gonna record this. This is the best ever.
I seriously, as someone who used to indulge,
Yep.
New York is not a place for someone who smokes pot, in my opinion. It's just like,
This is safe. This is safe.
oh yeah, for this
People are
ride,
different,
yeah.
you know.
I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, yeah, there's just too much going on for. Oh, here's one of the jams. So
It's the opposite. I want lots of stuff coming at me, and I want to be like figuring shit out and stuff.
that's
You
New
know.
York's like that, anyways. I don't need to enhance it. Yeah.
Well, it amplifies the experience.
Is this so? Is this not in order? Is this your start? Let's see if this pops up.
No, no. This is right after. You can even see that when I pan right there, you can even see that's the whatever that was that thing with the expansion joints. We just came out of that to
Oh,
this, and you don't have audio going, but there's a live band playing right there. It's kind of cool. They
oh.
got
So are
four
people
people.
hanging out on purpose, or
What? My cat's calling me. Come here, Elliot. Meow what? Come here. Come here, bud.
oh, Eric Schwartz just jumped in here and said, "I know that dude." So Eric's who we met up with in the Irish bar.
Oh, Eric, I got your scarf, dude. Thanks. I sold it on eBay actually. So, hey, thanks.
Yeah, yeah, the bar that Eric
We
that
had fun. Yeah.
that he had me go back to, even though I literally had a gun pulled on me 2 nights before in that
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I
that
forgot about
Patty's
that.
that they based It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia on.
Yes. And it was like that too, man.
Yeah.
The place was kind of gross.
But then we had a
Even the,
blast. Like I
had a
danced.
blast hanging out.
I
Yeah.
danced with some Irish girl to Fairy Tale of New York. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell is that what that was? What was that song?
Oh, she was from Ireland, so I was listening to I put on some Pogues. Do you know the Pogues at
Oh,
all?
God.
Irish
Yeah,
folk band, punk folk band
right,
from.
right.
So we were talking about like Irish politics, and finally I was like, the Pogues. She was, I'm not gonna fake her Irish accent. I can't do it. But she
Gotcha.
was like, love the Pogues, and I was just like, Fairy Tale of New York. She was like, yep. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, all I know when I was talking to Eric, all I know is we were, talking about whatever, and I brought up like tripping on acid, and then me and him were just like, "Oh yeah, man."
yeah,
So that was pretty funny. It was cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, man.
He left without his vaccination cards that night, which we had just shown the night before to see Dylan. But he had
Oh,
left him in the room because he was going to meet us at those really cool bars you took me to. That first one we went to,
Northern Liberties, yeah.
Yeah, we
Hmm.
walk in and Velvet Underground is playing, and I'm like, oh, this is my spot. And like then
It's
we
the
sat
shit,
down.
man.
Remember we had like, well, you don't drink beer because you're gluten intolerant, but I had like all these amazing craft beers, and then we were getting ready to leave, and then I looked at the bartender who was cool. They had both been cool. I think it changed over once, and they were both awesome. And I was like,
Even the bar back was cool. The dude, the young
yeah,
kid,
we
the
met. Yeah,
graffiti
another
artist. Yeah,
photographer. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then I looked and I see this other chalkboard, and I'm like, is that a menu of natural wines? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I gotta have one of these before we go. Just like, yeah, the coolest spot in the world. So
Yeah, yeah.
Eric was gonna meet us there, but they wouldn't let him in. And he was like, I'm vaccinated. I saw Dylan last night. And
Oh, because he left his cards.
yeah, they were strict, which I was glad about at the time because that was
Oh,
two
yeah.
weeks before
Yeah.
Omicron dropped. So,
Well, they locked us down again there for like about a week again,
oh,
and then
did
they
they?
opened it up pretty quickly. Yeah, I don't know why, but they did.
Yeah, I because when me and Eric visited you, that was that little window where we all thought we're vaccinated, everything's
Yeah,
fine.
that's cool. Yeah.
We had our cards, but they were in Philly. They checked your ID and they you couldn't even fake your vax card. You had to had like everything,
Hmm.
which was
Yeah.
like I said, I was all about it. But yeah,
Me
I,
too. I feel safer, So.
I really thought I was going to leave Philly with a common cold because I hadn't been
Oh, I
around so
was
many
sick.
people for 2 years. You know
I
what I
was
mean?
sick I was sick like 10 days after you left.
That was just your hangover.
I still have a 10-day hangover. I'm not that old.
I definitely had a
I've
2 day
had a
hangover.
hangover since spring.
My drive home from Philly was so miserable.
I couldn't. I don't know how you did that. I
I
don't know
took
how you.
I took Eric to the airport too, which was like what is like 45 minutes in the other direction. So
You know?
now maybe a half hour. It's not probably 45 minutes, but it's not right there. So
So the bridge I took you over, that Betsy Ross Bridge, that the in the
it looks like
beginning.
the Manhattan Bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Verrazano was not that much longer than this.
Hmm.
A little bit maybe. So I don't know what their big deal was about the Verrazano. It was just okay,
I think it's just because you can't ride it. So like,
ever,
there's a
right?
bike lane on the Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queensboro Bridge. There's no bike lane
Right.
on the Verrazano. I think that's the big deal.
Yeah. Oh, and that guy Nick I met who lives in the Bronx, he told me it's like $18, $20 to get over that bridge.
Yeah, I've made those costly mistakes. What all the bridges in New York used to cost money, and the first time I rode out or drove out there, really messed it up because every time you crossed it, you would just $10 out of your pocket back in the day. So, oh yeah, Sleepy Hollow. These are scenes from the Five Boroughs ride. So this is another one from where you. Oh, I think this was the same video twice. Oh, so this is. Well, this
Oh,
looks.
Spicoli, I know that dude. Okay.
Yeah, this looks like the Queensboro because it's painted tan.
It's not.
It's not. What is this?
I don't know. Dude, it was just I didn't know where I was at most of the
I'm a
time.
New York nerd, so that's why I'm. You don't need to know all the answers. It's mostly for me. So
Go on your own trip.
yeah, yeah. Don't ask me questions about what I do.
Do what you
I'm
do.
just a guest here.
Oh, here I got a nice close up here of East 63rd Street, FDR Drive, Rockefeller University. I'm looking at a map here. I got that's 63rd Street going up to.
Oh yeah, that's definitely just a normal street. Just big
Yeah.
iron trusses hanging over it. That's
So I don't know. Went over a bunch of bridges with bikes.
yeah. I just went out there. There were bridges. There were bikes.
But
Man.
no, that's the thing. It was just me. I was chatting with people, I was hanging out
Yeah.
with people and stuff. But I wish I was like with somebody who like lived there and knew exactly
Yeah.
what borough. From what I heard is like we only barely touched Queens and Harlem. Like you just it was like a token
Uh,
ride, just yeah. So
wait. So did you? It doesn't even go into the Bronx.
no, it does. It
No.
it does. Yes, but it barely. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Brooklyn was cool. You see these girls with the shirts? That was funny.
Let's see it.
But it's
It's in the video here.
yeah. What did it say? Uh, All ass, no gas on their shirts.
Oh, nice.
I was like, I'm recording. Is that okay? Yeah, yeah, it's okay. It's funny.
So Party Side said, "Isn't Verrazano the longest suspension bridge?" I know the U.S. doesn't even have the longest, but I thought the Golden Gate surpassed anything in New York when they built that. So
That's what I think. Yeah, because I was talking to somebody and there's something like, oh yeah, but the Golden Gate, you can ride bikes over it whenever you want. So they're really bike friendly there.
I think the big deal about the Verrazano is that you can't ride bikes over it. There's
Yeah,
no bike lane on it. So if you want to go to
and
Staten Island, I believe you have to take the ferry
right.
on a bike.
And the way they have it set up too is it is. I mean, it is a climb, and it is at the end of a 40-mile ride. So it's not terrible, but like I guess if you're not in shape at all, it would really tax you and people stopping a lot to rest and all. But people without triples, mostly stopping. That's what I found.
You're like you wrote that line. It's like I know that is like it's taped to your monitor with what do you call those little things?
How do you see?
One of these.
You haven't seen.
Yeah, it's like you're like
Bring up triple.
you put that on there on Thursday.
Don't forget the pogues.
So is this all? So where are we here? Oh, those are the shirts you were just talking about. Yeah,
Oh, I think this is the woman, the old lady that went down. No, that's the shirts. Yeah, that's the shirts.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the
They
next
were fun. There was a lot of people, and then right after this, it's like somebody had something like, remember Anthony or something like that. And there was a woman, older woman, and I said, "Who's Anthony?" That was my husband. I said, "Oh, you ride a lot?" And it's like, we rode here every year for like 12 years, and then he passed away, and now we still keep doing it. There's a lot of tradition, a lot of sentimentality to this ride.
Yeah, William LeBron had talked about like he's like this is a bucket list, and I've just heard that from so many people. Like I said, the guy I knew on Facebook who did it, who does like Akron Bike Party. Underneath that, there were so many people who commented like, "This is one thing I have to do," and all that. It just
Yeah,
seems like there's a lot of people that either have done it a lot or their goal is to do it.
tend to do it. I don't know. I heard about it. I'm like, there's a what now? And I signed up immediately. I thought it was so cool. I
I,
hadn't heard about it.
Terry did his video with the dude who they couldn't make it official because he didn't wear a helmet in the video, but
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't think of his. He's kind of a known social media dude. I can't think of his.
Well, he has a Gus. I know that.
Yeah, yeah,
But,
a fellow
he's got-
Rivendell bro.
mhm.
That's it, Rivendell bro. That is so like too like such an oxymoron. I love it. I'm gonna use that forever now.
No,
But
no, fun.
so I already lost my train of thought.
Good.
Oh man.
Hey, yes, hey. Lucky you're not here. That's all I can say,
Yeah.
Mister.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll look at your video then. I have you sitting here drinking a
Look at the video.
beer with
Oh,
your.
so that's where right. That was in Brooklyn, hanging out in the. That's where I'm like, this is I'm coming when I come back to New York. This is where I'm coming because I was just hanging out in this bar, and grabbing a drink and
And the bar faces
it was
just
nice.
outside with the doors. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then I just started talking to this couple in the corner there, and they were just like so nice. So how many miles you riding? Oh, we got to do this and stuff, and yeah, they were just everybody was nice. That was a nice thing. It was spring fever too. Oh, Dan actually told me she goes, well, yeah, it's nice because you're here before it starts to smell. So funny.
Nice. That's why I love New Yorkers.
Yeah, I know, I know. I'm like, oh, the heat. Oh, yeah.
uh, so Pudgy said Riven bro, and then Dylan said bro. I can't even pronounce that.
Rodendell.
Bro, yeah.
Rodendell?
Yeah, however you
Roden?
would.
No, you got to work on that, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, workshop that one a little bit.
Well, it's got possibilities.
Rick's bro rip. I don't know about that either. Yeah, you
Oh
guys
my
need to,
God.
you know.
Jesus, step up game. Top chat just dies without me there.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Oh, I do have it on Top Chat. That's a good reminder to switch this over
Oh,
to.
yeah, I did too. Yep.
I think in a chat our size, it really doesn't affect it as much. I just get to use that as a crutch, like, oh, I didn't see your message, because
Nice, nice. All the inside dope.
yeah, giving away all my secrets. Which Zeus Beer Company. Oh, so you even found a gluten-free beer out there?
Oh yeah, that was the next. Yeah, that's where I saw that old guy with that old Thai bike.
Oh, that was a titanium Greg LeMond bike,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, I was hanging out talking to I was in line with his son actually to get these beers, and I came out and I'm like and he introduced to his dad, I said, oh, how you doing? I said, oh, your son, yeah, he's a real asshole, and he's like, what now? I said, I'm joking around with him. I actually ended up like exchanging numbers with the old man, and he says, I like you, man. You can't let it end here. I think he was drunk too, It's
Yeah.
like, we got to get in touch. We get together, blah, blah, blah.
I think you did this right. It's funny because like watching like someone who's from New York, they're doing it as a ride, or watching Terry B do it with his media pass. It's no big deal to him because he rides in New York City every day of the week. If I went there, this would be the thing: is talking to people, party pacing it, grabbing beers along the way. Like
Absolutely.
I'm till I'm going through your photos right now. I kind of hadn't thought about it. You know what I mean? Because I, as we know, I ride in every different way. I go out for slow social group rides. Sometimes I go like me and Ben and Micah rode yesterday, where we're riding between 15 and 17 miles an hour the whole way, but still talking. You know, yeah. If I went out to something like this, now I realize, oh, you could just stop and like enjoy this
Yeah.
whole entire thing and take photos of your bike on the cool spots that you'll never get to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. I was, when we got near the end, I asked the cop, are there any bars left? Because I wasn't ready for it to be over. I just want to keep hanging, keep hanging out.
What is the cutoff? Is there? You said there's a.
I don't know, but they did say at one point, if you can't keep up, if you zonk out or whatever at the end, there'll be a support vehicle to pick you up and take you to the
Oh, a
finish.
broom wagon, a classic broom wagon. Yeah,
Boomlight, yeah, that
that's what they
makes
call
sense.
it in the
Yeah,
pros.
yeah,
Yeah, if you
yep,
don't make it, they
mhm,
sweep you
yeah,
up.
yep.
Jay Dandy just jumped in and he said, "If there's not going to be any maps, I'm going to have to drink a bunch."
There you go. No maps, no
Well,
maps.
we could pull up.
Colin.
I mean, we could pull up a five boroughs map, but
Oh yeah, you
I,
should do that.
I think
Pull
doing it.
Brooklyn.
I think
Pull up
doing.
Brooklyn.
I think doing this visually works as well. Oh, what is this beer? I love this
Brooklyn
neon.
Navy Yard.
Double.
Yeah, that's what the other guy was drinking. That was wait, he was asshole, I was douchebag. I think that's how it went. Yeah. 953, sorry.
I think people should follow along with their own maps. I've got a lot of windows going on here tonight. Oh, here he
Love
is.
and wrestling. Love and wrestling.
I've got your guy. Oh, it's the Lightspeed. Yeah, not the Le Mans. It was a Lightspeed titanium bike.
This guy was yeah, back this guy was, I think, in his 70s, maybe mid 70s, and he went back and forth across the country several times. Super nice guy. Too religious though for my liking, but
Ah, he was doing it for Jesus.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, Muskrat just said there's a 54 centimeter titanium Le Mans on Akron's Craigslist now. Good thing that's way too small for me.
I was gonna say that's a small.
Yeah, it's funny when like all that. I love when I hit it off with someone. It doesn't matter, but then when they get into like if they get into like well like a lot they start saying a lot of like blessed type stuff, and I'm like yeah this conversation will be the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like that's people could love whatever they want, whatever gets you through the night, as Lennon says. But like yeah, I just
Yeah. That's when you throw in a quick Hail Satan.
yeah exactly. Yeah.
What now? I'm just scrolling back looking for insults. Nothing. Nothing much. Nothing
Oh,
much.
JMZ just said can't wait to see what 10 p.m. brings. Yeah.
Such
And then Dylan said Rick is funnier when he's talking, not typing. I've told everyone this. Like, I'm like,
a
he's actually like
Jesus.
kind of a nice
Yeah.
person.
A
Yeah.
normal person. Angry fingers. I mean,
There's no tone. I've always said this. It's like,
all right, right.
it's really interesting, like, email or when IMs were like instant messaging was really a thing on your computer. Like, you didn't know how to take people. Like, I've had like girlfriends get mad at me and I'm like, what happened? And then I'm like, I read it back to myself, like not in the way I intended, just like in some blatant, like,
Right.
oh, that didn't come across sarcastic. I just came
Yep.
across like an asshole, you know. And I am an asshole, but like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
certain times where you're trying not to be, you know. So, anywho,
Oh, so here's a clip of me passing some roadie too. This is fun.
is that this one here? That guy didn't
It
look like
might
a
be
roadie.
this one or the next one.
Let's go to the next one because that guy.
With the cars on the left there. Yeah, might be it.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, yeah. He's knees flailing, full kit, spinning. Oh yeah, some Spinergy wheels though.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's the guy. Blue shirt.
Mm-hmm.
He's working. He's got it single probably. One by.
Let's start that again because I did think that was some. Oh wait, I did the wrong. Wait, it was this guy. It was this clip.
No, but I was kind of proud of myself though. I kept a decent pace and I was still ready to go at the end. So
Yeah,
yeah, the winter. I felt my legs go in the winter. It was so weird. I was just like, my lungs were fine, but my legs were hurting all the time. But now I'm getting there, so that's good.
Oh, your lungs hurt, and it's almost like you were smoking weed for this whole
No,
trip.
no, my lungs were not hurting because I was smoking weed. Pay attention.
I'm watching footage. I think this is actually the. Is this the Verranza?
Verrazano.
Yeah, I don't.
I
Yeah.
think Verrazano. Verrazano.
Oh, a large Marge asked if the roadie waved. Of
No,
course
no
not.
waves.
No,
We're all going the same direction.
he was mad. You were. No, he was also probably mad. He was
Exactly.
getting dropped. Oh, Pudgy just said. I mean, let's go ahead and own that Romulus is Riv's most roadie bike ever. Which
It
I
is.
well, but
Yep.
they also have the Rodini, isn't that actually?
Yeah, but at least you can put fat meats on there.
Oh,
You know, I'm locked into these, the 38s jammed in there with no room for a match head, So, and I hate now that that was brought up. I have a feeling when I get this Gus, it's going to be too big to take on the train.
ah,
It might be. Definitely Amtrak. Regional, I don't know. Then I'm probably going to get rid of the ROM and get, something else. Not a Rodini, but something else.
James,
Another
he asked. He said I missed it. How many miles with this? He'd be interested for
40,
next year.
40.
40. And JMZ, if you made half of the industrial gravel ride, you could handle this.
Oh, this was a cakewalk.
Yeah.
It was so flat. Even the bridges, nah, no big deal. Yeah, at all.
Yeah. What?
But
What?
his back though, that's the thing
Even
these
with the.
days.
Do you remember? Because all the climbing would be on the bridges in New York. What did this come out to? Like 300-400 feet, maybe?
I won't know because my fucking Wahoo
Oh, that's
died.
right. Yeah, you have this Wahoo issues. No one else has Wahoo issues.
Yes, yeah, you told me two people do. Didn't you say, oh, Aaron had some issues
Yeah,
and
but I mean, like
and
issues like where she was like disputing the like elevation, like not like it's not recording her rides
well,
issues.
that's an issue.
Yeah, but you're like acting like it's not working at all,
Well, it does not pair with the app
huh?
at all. And I've been back and forth on things. They're sending me a new unit. I found that's where I got today. They got my address and stuff, and they're going to send me a new one.
Hopefully, you just had a bad one because I just like I said, there's
I
been
hope.
the other little glitches people have had have been like annoying, but it's not been like what you've gone through and like
Yeah. And especially like the timing couldn't have been worse,
yeah.
because that ride's gone. 'Cause I had to do a hard reset on it, and that data is just erased. It's gone. It didn't go to arrive at GPS or anything. It's just gone.
Yeah, that's like Lanky said. If it's not, yeah, if you didn't record it, it didn't happen. Except for all this footage we're looking at.
Hitting
Oh,
all my
this is
yard.
oh,
Yeah.
this is a cool. Wait, where is this photo? Wait till it pops up because that looks like the George Washington
That's
bridge.
after the Verrazano.
Ah,
Yeah, that's the Verrazano in the background. We had just rode that, and I'm in the park afterwards getting high with these two fucking high school kids.
look,
They were super chill and nice. We got high separately. There were two benches, and they were getting high, and I was getting high. Okay, there was nothing like
oh,
that.
you weren't getting high with them. You said getting high
Well,
with them.
we were talking and getting high at the same time, but yeah, we weren't sharing anything.
Yeah,
Let's
the
put it that
biblical we.
way. The biblical weed?
I don't know what that means. I like
Moses, wow.
I like how Pudgy said he might be interested in a bike, and then Dylan said Pudgy is interested in everything. And then
He is, man. Donkey.
that's how I am. Our buddy put up a gunner like mountain bike frame in our group. He was like, someone could take this, and then I'm like, this. He said it's too small for him, and he's not as tall as I am. Then I'm like, yeah, just turn it up. Like you don't need this bike. Like there's other people who could take this bike. But yeah,
Yeah.
I get that too.
And every one of them is a money pit.
Hmm.
Every one of them.
Oh, even me, like saying like I found that Marin so cheap, like shipped $200 for this like really nice frame, but now I got a Thompson seat post on it, and Otis set up the
Yeah.
cantilevers, and then yeah, before you know it, I should have just bought a brand new All City with all the modern components. You
You
know,
know.
yeah,
I mean, what I want to do is have the new Gus, the ROM, and one of the folders, and that's it. That's should be fine. And ideally, it should just be one Riv. If I can get the Gus, excuse me, on a train, I think I'll get rid of the ROM. That's it. I will see.
yeah. Are you sentimental?
Yeah.
Because I am
Yeah.
too. So it's like that's
Yeah.
why as you've been down here, all the bikes hanging on the wall. Everyone's like, it's a lot of bikes, but it's like one, I like to tinker on the channel, and I just like to tinker in general. But like, there are like the three that it's like there's no chance these are going anywhere, you know. And then
Yeah.
if I get some miles on another one, it kind of becomes like that. I've sold a couple bikes that had no importance to me. I rode them for a while; they were fine.
Fuck, 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 fuck.
It's 10 o'clock.
How'd you know?
Yeah, but I get so it's. But I like your Riv. Like now that's been on the five boroughs. Like that's now it's become probably beyond.
Why did you do this? Don't stop talking. Why did you? Because now I can't sell it. You're
Yeah,
right. It's my first Riv ever. I mean, I found it. It was like parting the water. It was like a miracle. Just walking into the store and just sitting there, just
yeah.
waiting for me.
And you weren't even looking for something like that.
No,
Yeah, you weren't like steeped in the Riv culture or anything.
no, not at all. But then I got on it and I'm like, this is what I've been looking for. I went through, as flipping my bars and all that crap, trying to find a comfortable bike, and this is it. So
Yeah, that's how I am. I can't like, and that's why I have to go out on them sometimes, which is great because that's like it makes them so they don't just hang on the wall. So even though I've dialed in stuff I like more and more, like the Peugeot, the Viscount, I'm like I'm gonna pull this out a couple times a year and ride it, you know, and it's I'm gonna justify having it in my collection. So
I mean, I just lowered my seat post on the Riv a half an inch maybe, and it took me forever to find that. I can't imagine trying to do that with three bikes, let alone six bikes or eight bikes. I'm just too particular. It has to be exactly how I want it to be, And I'm not like I know next to nothing about bikes, but I know what feels good,
yeah.
and it lets me ride pain free. So
I said that once to someone who said I needed a bike fit. I used to have all my bikes upstairs in the studio along the wall where I work when I had like four or five of them. And someone said like, "Oh, you should really get a bike fit at some point." And I said, "Look at them." And you looked across and like the bars and the saddles were all in the same position no matter what bike it was. Like it just
oh right, right.
I just I don't know. I feel like I've got the sense to where I need it. And now I've definitely since then the bars are higher, you know what I mean, than they used to
Yeah,
be.
yeah, but you figured that out, gradually as you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, cuz yeah, my none of my pain has come from the riding side of things. It's come from I mean, maybe that's what's made me tight, but it's like I don't feel like I'm doing damage on the bike. I've hurt myself off the bike, and then that's why I have my single speed with the bars up. So if I mess up, then it's like, well, now you're on this guy. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really feel like it's the riding that has been my problem, you know. So what? What
I had a hair light. I forgot. Got
oh,
to turn it on.
let's see.
Or
Little,
actually, it's a rim
oh,
light.
look at that, a little separation. Yeah. I'm doing portraits for. Have you heard of First Energy? They're a huge energy company over here, involved in a bunch of scandals.
Nice.
I'm mirroring who their old portrait photographer was, who is actually Susan, who is riding her bike
Oh
across
yeah.
the country right now. Which is, she sent me. I should.
Oh, is that what she's doing?
Yeah,
That's great.
So her husband had retired, and I think she, you know, she had a legit business here, but it was also like a second income, And I don't think she ever had to work. I think she enjoyed it. You know what I mean? And it was a good, strong second income for their family. But she just texted me a app that I had never heard of, and it's tracking where they ride. Let's
Oh,
see.
cool.
So they're doing the Transamerica bike tour, and they're polarsteps.com. If anyone's interested, it like makes a automatic blog. So when you drop photos on your iPhone, you caption them, and it tracks you, and then you can
Oh,
kind
that's
of like.
great.
So it's kind of I think it's like probably similar to like when you watch like Leah Wilcox or Lachlan Morton like do something. It has like the pins, and so now it's cool because I downloaded the app, and so when they stop somewhere to camp and stuff like that, going across the country, I could just be like, "Oh, awesome! Like I've been there," or you could just like thumbs up it type of stuff. But yeah,
Actually, Dylan just posted. Imagine a Rivendell folder. I actually, I wouldn't say I harassed them on Instagram, but I really pushed them. I said, "You guys got to make a folder. You don't understand." And they finally just said, "It's not our thing. That's not our. We're not going to. Other people do it better. We're not going to do it." But
yeah.
I asked them to. Yep.
Well, because it's interesting because well, Graham's background is like a steel bike, but with clearance, kind of right.
Yes.
So yeah, I could imagine that wouldn't be. It's just not. It's not a very American. But then again, he was working for Bridgestone, so I'm sure there was a lot of folders over in Japan. But
Well, I think if he wasn't in California where you could just roll your bike out the back door and be have these gorgeous sceneries to ride through and all, and not in Philly or New York, he doesn't really see the need for it. I think
mm.
if he was like a true commuter in a metropolitan city, he'd probably make one.
I've said that about some of their posts where they've talked about like a level of like even divided bike lanes. I think I was talking about in the stream, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I'll take that painted line because here we have nothing. So I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
sometimes you can only be who you are, but you
Right.
come through the perspective of the way you see the world. And here it's like, give me that painted bike lane because that's better than what we've grown up with. So, you know,
Yeah. But I think part of the mystique too is they build this Nirvana, world of, Rivendells and rolling hills and, you know, that kind of thing, black and white, whatever.
yeah,
So, let them do their thing.
it was interesting because this is a long time ago. This is when Terry was doing the morning routine back like every day during like the peak of the pandemic. Someone asked him about Rivendell, probably even before me and you were talking, and he was like, "That's a bunch of old technology." Like basically like,
Yeah.
you
Cool.
know, because Terry does like the nice stuff. He likes electronic shifting, and he has like nice bikes, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But I
Hmm.
get it. But I was like, the thing they're doing is they're making beautiful steel bikes with clearance, and that's what I realized I was missing with my vintage bikes. Is like, if I get
Yeah.
lucky, I could get a 35 or a 38 in there. But like, I feel like my gravel bike limits me with the 42s now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, that's the thing. I mean, they realized it quite a while ago that the clearance was the way to go.
and then a
You know,
comfortable upright bike that is like made to be that way.
Well,
So
I don't know if you remember, but like when I first started going on your stream, I was like, "What about Dutch bikes? What about Dutch
yeah, oh
bikes?"
yeah, yeah.
And I took the Riv to a bike shop in Princeton, and the guy really loved the bike. In fact, he serviced my bike for free because we just started talking and stuff. And he's like, I said, take it for a ride. He took it for a ride, brought it back. Oh, I love having it set up. I said, to me, it's a Dutch bike, but cool. And he's like, it's a Dutch bike. It is a Dutch bike because it's just set up that way. It's a very solid, reliable bike meant to be ridden upright and wave to people as you go past them. That's the whole
Yeah.
idea.
Oh, JMZ said, I thought painted bike lanes provide no additional safety. Here's my take on that, and I've said it a bunch of times. When you're driving your car, you don't fly outside of the lines. Like, so to say it provides no safety is a lie. Like, we've always said, just give me a wide shoulder. Like, I don't care if they call it a bike lane or not. 99% of drivers drive between the lines. You could always have the person that there's no barrier, They're looking at their phone. They're completely hammered, whatever. That goes over and kills somebody. That can always happen, but that's life in every situation. Like, you say airline travel is extremely safe, but planes do go down once in a while. To me, that's what the painted bike line is. The bike lane is like when we're driving our cars, we're not swerving all over the place. We're observing most of the traffic laws and maybe rolling some stop signs. So that would be my take on that. When people are like, "There's no protection of a painted bike lane," I ride over that crazy Y bridge, almost every day of my life. And cars, even though that's a 40-mile-an-hour road, drive it at 60 because it looks like a freeway. They don't fly into the bike lane. They observe where the painted lines are, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't
And they
mean
pretty
everyone
much
will.
stay in their painted lane also.
Yeah,
That's the only reason they're staying in their lane because there's a little paint on there.
yeah. Why don't cars have head-on collisions every day of the week? Because they're
Yeah, 'cause
observing
they're
those lines. There's no barrier.
double yellow line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was my JMZ. Like I'm not taking this out. I hope this. I know I talk in a certain way and people, you know, but I'm not taking this out on you. I'm just saying that like lines do matter. Like most drivers observe the painted lines. If they didn't, cars would just be crashing all over cities every single day of the week, and they're not.
But I think the point Rivendell was making and JMZ are making is don't stop. Like keep pushing. If you get
Yeah,
painted, if you get a bike lane, don't just give up. Okay, we got what we want. Keep pushing for divided. So truly
yeah,
safe.
yeah. The more the merrier. Our downtown Akron, and even since you guys have been here for the industrial gravel ride, they've redone our Main Street, and we have a curb that protects the bike lane on Main Street
Oh,
now.
sweet.
So it's great. Yeah, it's a step better. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm not against improving it in any way. I'm just saying that if you have like where we have like a bunch of space and you go out into the suburbs, I'll take that painted bike lane over nothing. You know, it helps. Like because drivers do think like when they see you in the road, they're mad at you. If someone paints a line and then puts up a sign that says bike lane, they all of a sudden are like, oh, they're allowed to be here. It really
Yeah.
changes most of their mentality. You know,
Yeah.
you don't
It's like
become
you said, when you're riding on the trails, people say, "Why aren't you riding on the trails?" That's not where I'm going. Like
yeah.
the same thing. If you're not in a bike lane, you shouldn't be there. You should be in a bike lane
Yeah,
somewhere.
there should be somewhere for you to exist, not on my street. So it does make
Yeah.
a difference, I believe, you know.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't just believe, it's from my lived experience of now, 8 years of riding, city riding or whatever. So, anyways, next photo. 20 minutes. Oh, you went, I didn't realize till I saw this photo. You actually went front and rear rack. Yeah.
Baskets, yeah. Yep.
Baskets, that's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah, that was for me. That was minimal kit. I got away with it. So
What's going on here? Is this the ferry?
that's the ferry. Yes, I can't believe I didn't take any pictures for the line for the ferry. I don't know why I didn't. I should have.
You're
I
probably
just got
you're
pissed
probably
off.
chatting it up.
Nah, everybody was just like, just dealing with it.
You know, I always say that it's one of the best things in life, though. Um, when I do something and I realize I'm like, why didn't you take any photos of that? And I'm like, oh, because you just had a really good time talking to people and you
Yeah,
weren't thinking,
exactly.
you know,
Yeah, I said a lot. I told people I was going on this ride, and they go, "Oh, make sure you take a lot of pictures." I'm not really gonna. I just want to
yeah.
enjoy it.
When I go on, when I go on vacation, people say that they're like, oh, you're going to take amazing pictures of this place, and I'm like, no, I'm going on vacation. Taking amazing
Exactly.
pictures of what my job is most of the days of the week,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's not that I turn it off, and I do try to, but like yeah, when me and Aaron went to France, I wasn't gonna like arrange our schedule to get to the Eiffel Tower at the perfect time for a photo to take a picture of something that
Yeah.
people who live there are always gonna do better than I do. They know the exact time and season. But I always try and explain that to people. It's like, yeah, I want to take good photos, but I'm also not gonna like if I'm not traveling alone. If I'm traveling alone, I might get up early in the morning, get my coffee, and hit a spot. But if I'm traveling with other people, it's like Now I'm just a tourist. I'm taking the same photos you guys are, just with a
Yeah.
probably more
Yeah.
expensive camera. You know.
Yeah. I always equate that to prostitutes having talking about good sex, when they're not working. It's just the same thing.
Yeah. I wouldn't know. I'll take your word for
Okay.
it.
So that was right off of Broadway, waiting. It started to rain. I'm waiting for my train to get there, and I just sat there and had a nice coffee somewhere. But that was close to midnight, so that was near the end of the day. That was it. I think that was
Ah.
the last one. Yep.
So you said a couple hours to get on the ferry, then you spent a few hours riding around Manhattan?
Yeah, just up and down. I wish I had my Wahoo working, but
Because we could see. We could
I could
Jay
tell
Dandy
where
could
I
see
was.
the map of this.
Yeah. Oh, I might have that part of it because I think I switched to ride with GPS. It actually died when I was in line for the ferry. That's when I realized it wasn't syncing up. Nothing was something was wrong.
Hmm.
Um, Let me see what I got here. Okay, well, that was May 1st, right? May 1st. New York City. I got a map I can put up.
I think you have a share screen. Do you get the share screen option if I make us?
Well, I'm just gonna put it in Discord
All right.
under where
Oh, live streams.
you got it.
So, hey, Charles. Charles said a bunch of people were talking about a Sheldon Brown documentary when we went deep on the bike
Okay.
stuff, which would be amazing. And then Muskrat said they have done studies that show that zigzag cross lanes get better attention at crossings, which doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Well, I told you about my wounded animal move, right?
Wait, say that again?
I have a wounded animal move. Like when people are coming up behind me, because I use a mirror and I can tell if
Oh, yeah,
they're
yeah.
not giving me space. Like, start riding like this, and then you can see them slow down and get out of the way.
I
So
think that might be a. Otis always talks about that from Dirty River. And they say if you swerve a little bit, people give you more.
yeah,
I think that is a. Is that where he got that from? I think it might be a.
I saw it from a guy who travels the world. I forget what his thing is, but it's a YouTube channel. But he had some guy he ran into in like Finland or something. He says, "Oh, you drive too straight. You have to drive crooked when you see a car so they respect you." I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
okay." So I tried it and it worked. So yeah, I do it
I
all the time.
I've said so since I put that long Nito stem that I did on the stream on my single speed,
You know.
like Nito, Nito, whatever. But like when I'm riding that single speed with my hands way up here, and I'm usually in like the clothes I'm going to a photo shoot, which granted are not that much nicer, but a little nicer, you know.
I hear you, brother.
I feel like people do give me more space. They're like, "Oh, look at this college
Yeah,
professor on his bicycle or whatever it may
yeah,
be." Like
hell yeah,
when
yeah,
I'm in my helmet and I'm like in the drops, people just
yeah,
bam, bam, right by me. When I ride my single speed, like with my bars way up here,
yeah.
you could tell cars are giving you a wider berth, and it's
and
true.
and and they'll wave you at intersections. I think.
Yeah,
I mean, I've done it. I used to have drops and all that stuff, and I've noticed a huge difference my interaction with drivers when I'm upright and pedestrians and all that stuff.
I
Um,
I think it goes both ways too, because like I'll watch Terry B's Twitch stream and then I'll jump out on like one of my bikes and I'm like going through town and I'm getting somewhere and I'm going fast. Like I kind of become like fuck these cars. I'm gonna go through this intersection. I'm gonna swerve around them. But when I am going to a gig, I've got my camera gear with me. Like I need to be cautious and it you do. I think it comes from both sides. Like
yeah,
I'm being
yeah.
more
You
careful. They're being more careful.
you just put out a good vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wounded animal technique. Patrick said his friend Wolfgang uses that.
Oh yeah, then Grant Peterson, he said that is a thing from Just Ride from his book. So I think that's where Otis
Oh,
got it
okay.
from. Yeah, not doesn't mean that's where you got it from, but I do believe that's what Otis first told me about. He's like, yeah, just do a little sketchiness, and then people give you more space.
A little
It's like,
sketch in there,
I think it's
brother.
that
Yeah.
old spin around when you're walking thing, so people don't mug you, so they think you're crazy. You know, like
Yes.
someone asked about your cap. Um, I think Patrick did.
It, No, nothing to say other than support Ukraine. I couldn't find a fuck Putin cap, so we're gonna go with this.
See, I'm totally on board, except just not with our $40 billion.
Why not?
I just think we could impact here with $40 billion, and instead of
Well,
trying,
40, that's military money. That's doesn't even count.
oh yeah,
We would
it's
never see that. It would either get stockpiled or all they do, they keep spending trillions of dollars on the military, and then you might as well do something with it. Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, like I totally the same thing. I support the Ukrainians, and I'm just like, but if we don't have clear objectives and it's only to bog Russia down, like let's make clear objectives is my problem. Like I want Biden to come out and be like, these are objectives. Russia has objectives. They don't want Ukraine to join NATO. They want Donbas and the other region to become independent, which they won't, but they'll be Russian puppet states. But we need to define clear objectives with the $40 billion is my thing. Clear objectives. Like, what is this $40 billion going to? Is it just to slow down Russia and screw them over like we did to them in Afghanistan, which led to Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda? Let's make clear objectives. And we haven't done that. We have no defined purpose over there. We're going to this money is going to go to military contractors and then get passed through like three or four hands. That's my problem with how we've done everything in the United States since World War II. So I support Ukraine.
the new guy.
I support
Joe
Ukraine.
Biden has totally been underestimated, underappreciated for what he's done.
I
He's
hope
been
you're right.
slowly escalating, slowly building up the arms, building coalitions with NATO. He's doing it how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Is nice and slow
What's
and not
what's
telling us everything.
what's the United States endgame in Ukraine? NATO
Uh,
membership? We haven't said that.
no, you're asking me to answer a question that you think needs to be answered. I don't think that needs to be answered.
I do because every other open-ended engagement we had has gone wrong.
But you have to.
Do you want me to name them?
So
Do you want me to name 'em?
no.
Vietnam?
Of course, not, of
Vietnam.
course not. I'm saying, what's the alternative? It's you have to support these guys. You have to. I mean, they're being invaded by Russia for no reason. You can't say we're not going to support you unless we have an end game.
Well, Ukraine is not a United States ally,
Right.
so I don't think we can't support them unless we have an end game. I think we need to make clear what our objectives are there. Like, is it Ukraine keeping territorial integrity? That's fine. Then say that. Like,
Well, why? The thing is, I'm not saying for all we know, I'm confident that they do have an end game. They're just not telling us because they don't want to tell Russia or anybody else. That's how you do it. You don't say, you know, we'll give money's going to go for this. This is
I'm afraid of
a
mission.
proxy war.
I'm afraid of mission creep because that's what happened in Afghanistan. Afghanistan was taking out bin Laden, and then we spent 25 years there nation building, and now we left trillions of dollars worth of military hardware there, and we achieved nothing. And that happened in Vietnam as well. Um, you could argue that basically happened in Iraq because we have no sway over there anymore. So I've seen the track record of the United States' foreign policy achieving virtually nothing at a huge cost to American
Yep.
citizens and a huge cost to the citizens of other countries that live there. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not a Putin supporter. I'm anti-Putin. I think Putin is he believes that he could rebuild the Soviet Union. Yeah, I think he's an absolute dictator, but is bogging down the Ukrainian people in a long war to try and punish Putin with no end objectives for the United States. The best way to go about it.
Well, global politics. Who was that? Jay Dandy said it's not support, it's moral. Global politics at this scale isn't about morality; it's about power
Yes,
only.
because if it was about morality, we would also be in
Oh,
Somalia right
everywhere.
now. Yeah, and we
Yeah,
we would
sure.
have been in the Congo for 20 years, where more people died than in any war since World War II. And we weren't there, because they don't have the resources we need. Ukraine
Well,
has a lot of oil pipelines running through it, and that's what I think the United States is the most interested in,
yeah, but
and
I
Europe
think
as well.
this is also payback and pushback from them getting Trump elected.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, you know, Putin threw down hard with that. I mean, you got to come back at him, and he underestimated what Biden would do.
yeah. Oh,
He underestimated Biden completely.
he underestimated what the West would do entirely, for sure.
Yeah.
I think he felt like he had the political capital after the failed wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria, and he miscalculated horribly. But when when does this become a stalemate and the Ukrainian people become pawns in the game of two, former
Well,
superpowers fighting each other out?
I think we've already won. I mean, the EU right now. I mean, NATO and the EU. I mean, we've got all these countries joining NATO now or wanting to join NATO.
Yeah.
We've won already. We can end tomorrow, and we got a lot out of it. I think it's a smart move. You know?
Time will tell. I've not made my decision. It worries me because we've just throwing money at a problem is never the solution. So
But it's the only thing we have. That's what you can do.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there are
But you said I like poutine and Putin,
all
not
right.
so much.
Anyway, so we got this map up here. Oh, let's
I
wait,
love poutine. Poutine's the best. And
actually, let's take a leak. Well, I'm gonna take a leak.
yeah, you do your own thing.
Yeah, let's take the members video and then come back, and I think we should chat about the ribs a little more.
Yeah.
I would just like to take this moment to thank the channel members whose names you see on the screen right now. Their financial support really does make it possible to continue to grow this channel. We will be back in a moment, so it's time to crack open another tea packet and start letting the F-bombs fly. Thanks, everyone.
Are you there?
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah. Oh, Pudgy said I'm there, so I guess they're hearing us. I have so they're hearing me. Keto diet?
hit my target fat weight.
I turned out this video for a lot of Here we go. Let me make sure you're back on. Oh, by the way, Tuna Boat. I did a photo shoot for Micah yesterday. He's doing this really cool art installation at a shoe store, but the art was awesome. So I like, and this shoe company, they're doing like a whole release, whatever, doesn't matter. But he was like, "So what do I owe you for this?" And I was like, "It's gonna sound a little weird, but I really need a tuna boat logo." Like, because Jay Dandy and everyone had there been like, it'll be kind of an inside joke, and I'm like, so there's two things I want. Well, the one you came up with, Rick, slam beers, not stems.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah, I like
So
that.
I started to put that together, and then I was like, so I've got it, but I'm not a graphic designer. I'm like, so I want you to refine this and make it look cool. And then with
Nice.
the tuna boat thing, I'm like, don't spend more than 15 minutes on this. Just like the first thing that hits your brain, I'm going to send you the song. Know that this is when I go and take a leak and grab another beer. And, you know, this is the song. Just come up with an image that we can make stickers that anyone who wants to stick them wherever can. So don't think I don't think about you guys. So
Nice.
I traded a photo session for tuna boat stickers and then a refined version of slam beers not stems. The slam beers not stems is great, and so I kind of spaced the text, where it says slam beers not stems. So I want like kind of a crushed beer can here, and then like really tall handlebars, like quill stem handlebars, as the other
Cool.
graphic. So it could be that little like top tube sticker. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah.
Oh, I found the use for the what I thought was overly large this machine kills fascists.
Mm.
I finally put together a real a bike tool cart in my garage, so I got that on the front now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a good place for, yeah, it's a good place for it.
And your
So
idea to make the smaller one is going to happen. I'm
I
going to have
totally
Micah
want
do
that.
these designs because the library will print me a sheet of those vinyl stickers. So I'm going to have them do it in 3 sections. The thing is, they're super cheap to get made, but then you have to hand cut them. So that's where
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but if I do them all at once and they have like the tuna boat, you know, the slam beers, not stems, and then the smaller version of this machine kills fascism, it'll cost me like $20 to make. So I could send the members all those for free.
Oh,
So
awesome.
yeah,
Cool.
like
On the
that's,
tuna
yeah.
boat logo, Old Shovel was doing a convert. I'm not sure what bike it was, but it was an old Kona mountain bike, like a 96 or something like that. And the logo was it looked like a tuna, but it's probably a marlin, like on a bike, riding a bike.
Oh,
And it
I've
was
seen
like
that.
half
Yeah,
marlin, half human riding a bike. I don't remember which model it was. I'm like, oh, they look like a tuna.
yeah. Muskrat said, "What kind of organ do they use on the tuna boat song?" I Muskrat would actually be more in tune with that than I would. Like
Tune.
he's a he's a he's a musician who plays like harmonica like amazing and
Oh yeah,
but
I used
yeah,
to play harp.
Gary Fisher Narlin. Yeah, so I have no idea, but that song is great. There's nothing else by that
Yeah,
band.
I think it was a Gary Fisher. No, it was a Kona. It was a Kona.
Of course, Jay Dandy comes back alive when we start talking about Gary Fisher's. What is this map we're looking at? This is when you got back.
This is part of the yeah, after I got back and I was killing time, I was going up and down this area. That's from Ride with GPS. See you guys has the Hudson there,
Yeah,
the river on the left,
yeah.
and I was just riding up and down those trails. And I think this map might end at the Garment District. Oh, I think I bought a garment
Oh
that night.
yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember.
This is all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Hudson Yards over here with the huge buildings that they've built over the old
Mm-hmm.
train. Yeah.
I think I peed off the dock right over there where that started. I was looking for a spot. There's no place to piss in New York unless you go in and spend money somewhere. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and they have like. Yeah, I
No
went to
porta
see.
potties, nothing.
I I've always said that about big cities. It's like, what do they expect us to do? Like
Yeah.
I've paid for shitty beers just to take a leak so many times in my life, right? Like when I was in Italy, I did it. When I was in Paris, I did it. When I'm in New York, I do it. I'm like, this next place that I could see, I'm going to try and beeline to the bathroom. I've done it in Boston too. And in Boston, like there a couple times, I'm like, fuck Boston. So like, I wouldn't pay for the beer. I would just be like, I'd be like, I'd look at the bartender and be like, bathrooms? And he'd be like, are you getting anything? I'd be like, yeah. And then I'd go to the bathroom, then I would just walk out. But everywhere else,
Yeah.
I like can't make that happen. Like, cause you know, they're
Muskrat asks if I have a harp. Yeah, I got a few of them sitting around somewhere. Stop peeing and play your harp.
yeah. Tony just said no place to piss in New York.
Oh, remember you were going to do the thing, the news show, the biking news show thing you were going to do?
Yeah, I'm still into that idea, but
Well, my idea for my segments was going to be just an old man riding around pointing out good places to pee. That was going to be like, I'm like, oh, this is possible up here, you know? Like, oh, this is a good spot, you know? And I don't know.
dude, there was a place I went in Rome, and I went through like a couple gates, and I was not far from the historic district, but it was at night, and I was drunk, and I'm staggering home, and I didn't turn on my smartphone, and then I just thought, if this gate like to this private little place I went behind closed, like, what would I do? I'd be like trapped into this like, you know. But that's like one of those positions you find yourself in life all the time because it's like, yeah, I took a leak before I left this bar, and it's like, God, that was 10 years ago, and now as I get older, you know that window narrows even more before you wet your
Well,
pants. You know?
not a good look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would burst into my air or whatever it was. It wasn't even like an Airbnb in Rome, like every night, like, and there'd be someone at the desk, and I'd be like, I'd want to be like polite, you know, but it's like I need to get on this elevator before I piss here in the like down my leg in the lobby, you know, like. I think that's a real thing. And Paris has these weird things you could walk into. You put like a quarter into, and you could walk into all over town, and you could go in. But like, there's usually a line of like 5 deep, and by the time you're like willing to walk into one of those, like 5 deep, you don't have time for it, right? So, yeah.
I wasn't listening.
Oh no,
even here.
I was just rambling on about that whole topic. Pudgy said, "Look in the stream." Oh, look what
Oh,
Pudgy
this is a
dropped
real
us.
junk thing.
Oh, this is the Gary Fisher logo here. It is like a wow.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. We need something simpler. Like I was telling Mike I want something totally simple. Oh, you got the harp.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, it's been a long time. Long, long time.
A little rusty is
A
this?
little rusty. Yep.
Patrick said he knew a dude in Paris who would just pee on traffic passing by in the street. They've cracked down on that kind. I think that was a thing, and they've cracked down on it. But like in like the famous Luxembourg Gardens, Jardins de Luxembourg. Like, I walked into a bush. I was like, we had a glass of wine, and we had walked for another 10 miles, and I was like, Psh, there's no choice. Like, if like a Parisian cop takes me away, then fine, because you get there. New York's like that too, you know. Jay Dandy said he has a sticker on his bike. Nice. It's kind of creepy. It's like a merman.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reverse
Definitely
merman.
creepy. That was the Gary Fisher, huh?
You couldn't say that anymore, Philadelphian. Agari Fisher.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That fish is in the water. It's not funny.
I was looking at some of the drink picks tonight. So JMZ was drinking a Summer in his Black Fork gravel grinder pint glass. Pudgy had a bat squatch. Jay Dandy said sufficiently weird for the gloved one. Plus tissues. Oh, Farley was also drinking a bad squatch. Nice. Trust your feelings, Rick. Play that harp, is what Muskrat said.
Actually, I trusted my feelings and stopped playing that harp.
Really? Were you serious about it for a while and then?
No, I wasn't really serious. My brother was in a band, and I just like to sit in once in a while. Just got really drunk, and I never had a microphone, which is definitely a drawback for harmonica players.
Where did I lose us to? I lost our faces on the stream.
Oh, what a relief!
Oh, there they are. No?
I see me.
I see it, but I don't know where it is. Let me see if I could find this. All right. Oh, it's this guy. There we go. Now we're back. I did lose us for a second.
Putin. Oh, right. Scared me.
Like I'm being watched. So with the Riv, let's talk about the new build.
Yeah.
So you've been. This is the Gus, right?
Yes.
And you're gonna go triple.
Triple. Even though they said I'm not allowed to.
But you figured out the Q factor will work, and the
Yeah, well, they did. They basically they admitted that they hadn't tried one in a long time, and then they mocked one up and said, "Oh yeah, it works." So they were like giving me a hard time, and they're like, "Well, I don't recommend one for the trail anyway." I'm like, "Well, I ain't fucking riding on the trails much, am I?" You know, I mean, it's just like everybody's got their lane, and they just want everybody to be in that lane. I don't know. It just makes me nuts.
I find that interesting because I was thinking that about it might be two pathless pedals videos ago, but he was talking about like gearing being aspirational, you know, and I was late tonight. Like I ran, like I was telling you before we came on the stream, I was late. I ran into a friend when I was getting ready to walk out. I had plenty of time, and it was like then I just crushed it my whole way home, and I'm like, 5011 is not aspirational to me, and I don't say this as like it's a dick measuring contest. I don't care if it's like not something someone else needs. Like I ride with people who are faster than me, and if we have a slight downhill, I like to be in a really hard gear and pedal a little bit. And so like the same thing with triples, like it makes my Trek a bike that I could ride in any situation. Like I've ridden it fully loaded up gravel climbs, and then I've ridden it as a road bike and have my PRs on. So
If you're going to have an all-terrain bike, why not have an all-terrain drivetrain?
yeah,
I mean, it will do anything.
I think with 11 speed, you truly can get away with like a double and like not to
Right.
like put down the triple thing. Like, but I have a bunch of 9 speed triples where they didn't used to make like a huge range rear cassette for those.
Mhm.
And I also think chain line still is like something that everyone acts like doesn't matter anymore. Jan Heine from Renee Hurst talks about it. He was like, chain line still matters. Like one,
Well,
you're still losing power and wearing out your components with a bad chain
varying your
line.
components, yeah.
Yeah. The whole one by thing. Erin was asking me about cross chaining because she was riding her Pacer the other day for the first time in a while because she usually rides her Crossbound Bora. And I was like, it's not something to overthink about. Like, don't go big, you know, big. You know what I mean? Don't constantly ride cross chained. I was like, you're always kind of cross chained when you're riding your one by. But
Yeah.
I really think like it does matter to some extent, you know.
I, I was giving Terry B a hard time about triples.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's such a one by dude. Yeah.
and he's like, he said, I'm not going to ride a triple because it's too complicated. And I'm like, says the man who has, 3 routers over his back and all this stuff.
That was genius. I was listening. I knew it had to be you.
But he came back with, he says, yeah, but I got a lot going on. I don't want to think about gearing at the same time. So that was a good comeback. He's
it
good.
was
He's
a,
great with the comeback.
it was a
Yeah.
great comeback from someone who was
Yeah.
just as stoned as you, and it was. But you like had a great point because you did say he was like, man, how would I ever know what gear I'm in? And you're like, exactly what you just said. Says the guy with 3 modems bonded
Right.
together, 2
You're smart.
cameras. Yeah.
Right. It's just, you're in the wrong gear. You just feel it, and you just put in the right gear. I don't know, overthinking it. It's just, I don't know. People want to pick sides.
Yeah.
I was a guy on the train yesterday. I was just talking about people like their own stuff and they judge you and whatever. And he had a bike and he's right on the other side of the train from me. And he had another bike and I'm like, oh, where you riding? Blah, blah. We start chatting. And he's like, oh, the Brooks. We both had Brooks. He had an older one. He had the professional. With the brass things on it and all. And he's like, oh, I see you're still breaking in your Brooks over there. And I'm like, no, it's.
Yeah, and it was like backhanded compliment.
Nice guy, but if you look for it, it's always everybody judging.
Yeah,
I'm overly sorry.
most of the time, like that's the whole thing. Like with Russ when he's talking about it, I'm like, for where he lives and what he rides and who he rides with, why he's always advocating for something that makes sense for him, I understand. He has a hard time finding what works for him. I can really ride like modern compact, like chain rings in Ohio where I live, and it works. You know what I mean? And granted, I'm still 43, and I probably have a little bit of I used to be a runner and all this kind of stuff. So it's like I'm not advocating everyone needs 5011 or even 3434 is their easiest gear. That's not like my point. I'm like, it works for me. Like I want all the options to exist out there for everyone, But I also don't like when he's like, you're just trying to be a bro if you say you need 5011. No, I'm not. I ride with people who are way faster than AJ, who's on the stream. Albert, who sits back here and he's kind of quiet and drinks his tequila, will destroy me. Like he could drop me anytime he wants to. So it's not about the gearing, it's just like these are some of the people that I hang out with. Like that gearing is reasonable to me to hang out with people like this when I'm not riding with my girlfriend or in a group ride or loaded, because that's what we do sometimes. We hit flat roads and ride at 22 miles an hour. That is part of my life. And it's not like I'm acting like I think I'm some kind of badass. Russ would probably end up dropping me loaded on one of these long climbs he's used to because I don't ride like that. I don't live in the West, So
Well, one of the things about Russ and you, if I think about it now, is he can't end his quest for whatever because his channel would end.
yeah.
I mean, you have to be perpetually confused and searching, and because that's the story. That's why we watch.
Yeah.
If he solved it, if he's like, "Oh, this is it," then why even watch it anymore?
Well, you got to watch him come back around to the 2x thing after like being an early advocate on the 1x. Pretty soon he's
He's
gonna be,
all 1x, right?
yeah. Pretty soon he's gonna be putting tubes back in his tires, right?
Yeah.
That's a joke, but yeah. And everyone has their own cadence. That's a big deal. I think is missing from the conversation. To talk about gear inches, like, and Russ likes to point out Eddie Merck's hour record, which is on a velodrome, which is flat. Like, no, I'm not faster than Eddie Merck's. Eddie Merck's never had a 5011, especially 5211. That didn't really even exist. But that just means that's what Eddie Merck's cadence was comfortable at. Like, I'm a lower cadence rider. I always have been. So is Erin. Like, she likes to push a way harder chain ring. She's also a smoker, so her lungs aren't her strength. So people who like to spin a lot have a high lung capacity. People who like to push a lot have really strong legs. And that doesn't mean one is better than the other. It's just a fact. Like everyone is different in the cadence things. So like you can't talk about 5011 or 4810 or anything as like a definitive thing because cadence is extremely personal, you know. When I was riding with you, you spin more than I do. We'd be riding at the same pace and I would be turning over the pedals less. That has no bearing on who's a stronger rider or who's anything. It's just like that's what you're comfortable with, you know. So you're sitting
Well,
upright, riding it just as fast as I am on your rib, you know.
right. I think everybody gives advice that are very well meaning, but it's coming from your own experience. When I first got back into bikes, a couple of years ago, I was just watching Russ. I'm like, oh, supple tires. I need supple tires. I didn't realize that a 250-pound person on supple tires is going to get a flat every mile.
Mm-hmm.
So good advice coming from him, but it doesn't pertain to me.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's just a lot of money and time and all that frustration to get to realize the things you should be listening to and not listening to.
Yeah,
It takes.
and I that's what I take. I'm like most of this advice is good. It doesn't 100% apply to me, you know. I agree with
Mhm.
Rice on the double, like or even the triple. Like I said, I have two 105 triples here, but I'm doing it so I could gear towards the higher end. He's doing it so he has the gearing towards the lower end. You know.
I I was on one of his coffee, outside coffee things he had, and they just weren't getting it that I wanted the larger teeth on the front. It wasn't computing. It said, oh yeah, you get more climb. Like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, you might be city riding sometimes when you want to be get your
Oh
speed
yeah,
up. You know, like
yeah, yeah.
Philly in general is pretty flat. Like when you're in the city, right? We
Oh
were
yeah, and there's nothing like going down a gradual decline and you're geared way up and just flatly flying, man. And you're barely pedaling. It's great.
I
That's one of my favorite things.
that's my thing. That's what 5011 is for. I don't even ride it on the flat anymore because I've learned to spin more. I'm like, yeah, this is more comfortable and I want to have knees when I'm older, you know? But it's that
Right.
it is that slight downhill of just like putting in just a tiny bit of effort and turning over the pedals that I really like about having that harder gearing. And
That's when you got ET in your basket, right? That's when you
yeah,
feel like you're flying,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like yeah, riding like 22 on a slight downhill, 22 miles an hour, you barely have
Yeah.
to turn the pedals in 5011. I
Yeah.
love that. Like I I don't
And
know.
and and I firmly believe this. I've come to situations where you're traveling that, 18, 20, whatever it is, and you need to go faster to be safe, like to dodge a car or to beat a light or something like that. And you need those extra gears. And even though you're going really fast, if you spin out, you're in a dangerous situation. You got to be able to accelerate when you need to.
I do that too. I do that on Akron's Hilly and I do that on downhills. It's like it's keeping that pace ahead. Like I ran that red light because I knew I wanted to be ahead and I like have that gear just like at least give myself that space between me and the cars. Like it's
Hmm.
yeah,
Amen, brother.
yeah. And again, if you live like if you live in Missoula and you're always in a place where you're always going up steep gravel climbs, I totally understand the mentality of a double that is on the lower end, like or higher gear ratio on the other end. So I'm not like putting down what he does, but I'm like don't always equate like tough gears to like I am not like an aspirational pro cyclist. I don't wear kit. I don't wear any of that, you know, and I don't care about my times, but I use those gears. I literally use them. They're not staying clean, as they would say back in the day. You know, like I'm using the tough gears. So, and it doesn't make me better than anyone. Like I said, I know people in real life who would smoke me any day of the week. You know, so I'm not the fastest rider out there or anything like that. So, and yeah,
So yeah, so going triple. I have a lot of components. I'm going with the um, albatross bars, I think, friction shifting, bar ends. Um,
is that a rim brake bike?
what's that?
Is that rim or disc?
Oh, it's a rim. It's a Rivendell.
Uh,
Remember?
Is every Rivendell rim?
Oh yeah, they're anti-disc. They are violently
Oh,
anti-disc.
I didn't know that. I've never caught on to that Grant Peterson
Yeah,
mantra.
will never. They said they will never do. Yeah, so
Really?
we'll see.
What's the do you know what his reasoning is? I mean I
I
I
really
I only
don't.
have one disc bike, so it's not like I'm
Yeah, I
pro
think it
disc
has to
either.
do with serviceability.
Hmm.
I think. I really don't know, but I do know that's his stance in a big way.
So it's all so what do you know what your brakes are?
What my brakes are? Tektros.
So like classic side pull or V brakes? Just
Um, what are they called? Hang on a sec. Dust build. I got like a checklist of shit.
Muskrat told me to get my bass and we should jam. Man, I am so out of practice. I have a bunch of guitars here, but yeah. And then Jane Danny said he's been drinking all night if ever there was a time for some blues harp.
I'm not doing that.
What did Pudgy say about supple tires? He said, tires for heavy riders aren't supple ever. Just go about 10 psi below max and deal with what you get. Okay.
Yeah, and they feel good. I think if you put a heavier rider on a more durable tire at the right PSI, it is um supple.
Yeah.
You know,
That's why I
you're
loved
getting that you're getting that suspension.
that's why I loved when I had party size on because I'm like I can't like it's like I can't speak to this. That's not,
No,
I'm
yeah, it's
tall
a
and
whole
lanky.
different.
I'm not even as tall and lanky as Lanky is, but I could ride regular casing Renee Hertz and I don't have a problem. Ren Air. Everyone gets mad at me about my pronunciation. But yet, like I know like I'm not riding the extra legers, but I could ride the regular ones and they work for me and that's just how it is. Like I
Yeah,
can't give you and then that's why when everyone asks saddle questions, you're like, we can give you advice, but we can't answer no one could answer a saddle question for anyone else.
yeah.
They are like so
Mhm.
personal, you know.
Like condom questions.
Yeah. Oh, what is
Yeah.
this? The 80s?
Yeah, like, ouch.
That's raw. Raw dog it, man.
Raw dogging. All right, so what I get here? I got the Shimano Dior T610 linear pull.
Oh, those are your calipers?
Yeah,
Ah, Shimano, good man.
so those are coming soon. Got a bunch of stuff.
The Otis, when I pulled in the other night, we were saying something with Aaron's bike, and she was saying how she was like, oh, I was on her pacer, and she was like, oh, the shifting feels different. I'm like, oh, that's because you've been riding your crust with that clunky SRAM stuff for so long. And and I looked at him and I was like, the Japanese have been ripping off Campagnola for 30 years and they have perfected it. And he was like, man, you are a special man. Like, just like, not even in the mood to argue with me. Anyways, go on.
I I'm fully sold on Shimano. It just feels so much, at least for this bike.
Hmm.
I think if I had a real mountain bike, I think I would like SRAM better. It's Shimano just cruises, just so nice. It's just refined.
Refined is the word I use. Refined. Yeah.
That's where I got it from.
Oh, yeah, for me.
Yeah.
A feedback loop here.
Well,
Yeah,
brainwashed at this point.
Party size said he'd been fine with thicker casings, tubeless at 45 psi, without flats at 300 pounds. All right.
Well, it depends on the tire. I mean,
Yeah, of course. I think that's a general,
yeah.
statement.
And I always run them softer in front, always.
You know what? The new, someone was just telling me the new calculator said you should, or I think Funny Brad was telling me that Jan Heine said you should run them the same. And I was telling Aaron, I'm like, I don't like, I love Jan Heine and like I run Renee Ers. I don't like, that's my favorite tire. I don't care what anyone says. I can see the
Yeah,
weight I'm putting on the front versus the
yeah,
back. I'm
and
always going to run at least 5 psi lower in the front.
yeah, because you want that certain amount of flex in the tire so the tread is making contact,
Yeah.
and that
Patrick
should be
Barabay
pretty
super
much the
chatted
same as the front and the back.
$5.
I
1
think. You know,
banana,
like,
2
why not?
banana, 3 banana, 4
What the hell's
banana.
Super
this?
chat
Make a
coming.
bunch and so do
I see
many
all
more.
kinds of
Over hill and highway,
fruit
the
in this thing.
banana buggies go.
Oh, I don't get to hear it.
Oh, you don't get to hear it? Oh, yeah,
I'm
because you
hanging
have to
up.
have your volume down so it's not feedbacking through
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
You didn't get to hear the banana.
Oh, that's the Banana Splits theme song.
Oh, one
Three
banana,
bananas,
two
three
banana.
banana, four.
I know it through the Dickies. Do you know that
Yep.
L.A. punk
Oh
band?
yeah, it was a cover of that. Yep.
Yeah.
Not as good as the original, but still good.
Yeah,
I use that more. I use that in one of my videos, my winter videos.
yeah, that's right.
Oh, I am so done with video, by the way. Ugh, I don't know how you do it.
Oh, it's a huge pain in the ass.
It's a huge pain in the ass. My God.
But so like I blogged for my whole life and I still do, but YouTube pays me. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a little bit of a
No,
motivation.
yeah, I guess if somebody paid me to do videos, I'd do it. But all my clients are used to how quickly I deliver stuff now. I can't say I'm going to represent the same amount of products, but it's going to take me 4 times as long to do. They don't get it. I mean, I guess I need different clients, and I'm just too old for that. So
Yeah,
I just
I'm doing a project right now with the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition, which is our towpath trail, and
nice.
we started really early, and we tried to get because we're kind of interviewing important fundraisers in Akron, so there are people who, their schedules are tough, and of course we started early. We thought we were going to get it done early. Tomorrow, I'm getting the final feedback from the person at the top, and the next day is when the video needs to be out.
Oh,
So when I put my draft up, the rendering is going to take 10 minutes. The upload is going to take a half an hour. They need to watch a 24-minute video, come back with any feedback. The whole cycle starts over again, as you know. So it's like, now we're a day before. So it's like, and what does that do to what my schedule is? I have a shoot tomorrow at 1. So like, there's
you have
2
to make
hours
yourself
there where I'm out.
available, huh?
Yeah. So, yeah. And then I have a evening shoot. So it's like, you have 3 hours for me to come back, and that final, whatever I come back with, if you have a problem with it, if something is misspelled, too late. This is going out at 9 a.m. in the
Yeah.
emails. It's a virtual event. Like, yeah. So the video thing on the commercial level becomes a whole different thing. Like, my YouTube videos, it doesn't matter. I want to get one out every Monday. That's my goal. But if I don't, like, you're not gonna like not be my friend anymore. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, but the commercial stuff, there is a hard deadline on it. It's very time consuming. Yeah. And then
Well, all you can do is educate your client as best you can, and they're
you
going to
try
listen to you.
because
Or
they're
they're
like,
not.
you spelled something wrong. I'm like, tell your boss this is spelled wrong. Let them see it so they know that this is not something that needs to be fixed until they come back with their feedback. But every time they come back with that feedback and they think like you're done, that's an hour at least, So
Yeah,
it's a pain, but I also find it rewarding because when it is good, it is a new challenge,
Do you bill by the hour on editing?
I have a whole floating. It just depends.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sometimes you're working for nonprofit. Sometimes you're working for corporate where you have to just be like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know,
My point is though, that's how you educate them. You hit them in the wallet,
yeah,
and then
you're right.
they get it.
Yeah. But a lot of times you're working for their social media people or their marketing people who get it, and the
You
people
should know.
they know they're trying to get that message through to the people up the chain. Like. Pudgy was asking when I thought I would hit Springfield. Yeah, because we're riding down to meet them. We don't know yet. I will let you know on the. What is today?
Ellie, come here. They want to say hi. Come here.
I'll let you know closer, Pudgy. Oh yeah, Muskrat wants to see the kitty.
He's all pissed off. He's like, why aren't you in bed yet, asshole?
Muskrat was asking, hey, do you think people in the city are happier because they don't have to wake up to the. And then he named a bunch of suburban sounds. But I think if you're from the suburbs and you move to the city, then you're waking up to city sounds. So it's probably you probably become accustomed to wherever you are, right? You know.
I think Muskrat has too much time on his hands to think about shit like that.
I was gonna say too. I know Muskrat isn't a very he's not big on the internet stuff, but I'll DM you, Muskrat. But if you want to come on and show one your bikes and hang out, because he lives close to me, he's not that I'm close enough to ride over here like Jane Dandy does. We should do an episode if you are comfortable with it. If not, no worries. Yeah,
And bring your harp.
bring your harps. Yeah, we'll do a little musical breakdown. We'll talk about. Well, you just pick one of his. He has a lot of bikes, so we pick one of his bikes. But me and him have a probably stream wise the longest relationship. I've known him since almost 2001 maybe. So
Wow.
yeah. Pudgy said, "Hey, lived in the country and the city. The city is way louder." So I think Strongtown's posted something. Or no, it was bike. Not just bikes. They said cities aren't loud, cars are loud. And I think it's very true. Like living here on State Road, you've seen my place. Like there wouldn't be noise here. I mean, there'd be the occasional lawnmower, but it's the cars bombing up and down the street that are what makes it constantly loud. So, but how far are you out of like Philly proper, like what people would consider Philly?
Well, the real Philly is Center City, Philly. That's what they call it, Center City, Philadelphia. So I'm in far northeast. There's Northeast Philly, and I'm far northeast. That's 20 miles to get to Center
Really?
City, where we were. Yeah. So that's why I started doing the train. I mean, I could ride. I've done it many times. Ride from my house down to Center City and back, but that's 40 miles, and then it's just like for me, that's it. You know, I can just do. I can ride more, but that's a long ride. So taking the train down there and riding around there all day is fun. And then sometimes riding back or sometimes taking the train back. So
Yeah. Well, Muskrat, you could wear a Boogie Boy mask like Devo. Then it'd be very Akron. He said it'd be nice if he could wear a chimp mask. Yeah, but that was amazing though about all like the trails in Philly when I was out there. You're like, you were like we could keep going. Like you're like we can keep
oh, yeah.
riding this forever.
For days, yeah.
And that little part of town we stopped where we had lunch at the Mexican place.
Manioc.
Yeah, yeah,
Manioc.
and all the lights and every. Yeah, it was just so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. And it's just getting like better now. I mean, as spring approaches and more people hanging out. The trails when MLK drive. Remember we took
Yeah.
on the other side of the river there.
Oh,
That
on
is
the way
so
back,
nice.
yeah, they had the
On
traffic
the way
shut
back,
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, they close off the roads almost all summer. They just close off a whole freeway next to the river. So I'm very excited about this season.
Yeah. I was thinking about this earlier. I'm like, as like planning something with Pudgy next weekend, and then we have our trip planned for like doing the Gap and the CNO. And when you think of the nice weather, and then I don't know if you get this with the photographer because I might keep my schedule like digitally now because it's like there's too much to remember because there's no consistency. I don't know when my shoots are without keeping it. Then I start looking at the weekends and I'm like, there's not as many summer weekends as I used to think there were. You know?
Well, for me, it's like I have everything planned out. Like I do, my work tends to be in big blocks. Like we're going to do a book, we're going to do a website. It's like 2 or 3 month projects. And you just keep thinking, it's like, all right, cool. I'm going to have no money coming in, but I have all this free time, and then another big block comes along. Which kind of sucks. So I got one starting in a couple weeks. And but what I'm going to do is that's what I'm getting the folder ready for. So I'm going to commute there every morning, right near Trenton. Actually, it's actually West Trenton. I'll be going to. So that'd be cool. So I'll get a ride in on the way to the train. Take the train, get another couple miles in. So every single day I'll be able to ride, which is cool.
Nice.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, that's what I felt like when I wasn't able to stream it all the other week. I'm like, this is the money to be able to enjoy summer. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's so different because Aaron wanted to go to Montreal in the fall for her birthday, or late summer. And then all of a sudden she was like, oh, I can't do it. And I'm like, how could you know you can't do it already? She's like, oh, because I have Excel sheets of what I'm making and what I'm going to be spending. And I'm like, oh, that's right. Like, she makes the same amount every week of her life. I have, like, I just got,
Wow.
like, my buddy Kyle just got me, like, to cover, like, a bunch of stuff through the summer,
Right.
a $5,000 grant. And I'm like, oh, that came through. And I committed to the Montreal trip because I'm like, oh, I could definitely earmark $1,000 of this to the trip. You know what I mean? Like, which is money I didn't know I was going to have. It's so different being a, I don't know, freelance photographer.
Yep.
And,
But I'll be like, I can't wait till this project's over and I'll have free time to work on my bikes and do all the other things. And the first day that project ends, my stomach starts churning. It's like, where's my next money going to come
yeah.
from?
Yep.
It's like clockwork. And I can talk myself down pretty quickly, but it happens every time also.
I think that once in a while I'm like, am I gonna have to go out there and get a day job? Like I've done this now. Like for me,
No,
not
my thing is we'll have to do weddings. That's what my
oh
that's my fear.
yeah.
You
Do
know
I have
what
to
I
sell
mean?
my soul? Yeah.
You know?
That's the same kind of thing. It's always like for me, I'm like, sometimes it gets slow. I start working on my website. I start doing the things, like making more YouTube videos like I was in 2020 where this started. And I'm like, oh, is it drying up? And I'm like, I'll get by. Like I'm not an idiot. Like
Yeah.
I could always work. You know what I mean? Not that
Sure,
photography is
sure.
not work,
Yeah.
but yeah. But it is like that, and then it's like it keeps coming, and like now that it's been coming faster, I'm like, awesome. And then I'm like, oh, I can do these things, and I can be comfortable doing these things. It's a weird way to live. It's not for everyone.
No, no.
Have you put the work into what comes next, like retirement or anything? Just curious because I haven't. Yeah.
I'm literally going to die behind the camera.
Yeah.
I just at some point I'll just sell my house and get someplace small and yeah, just work. I can't work anymore. No clue.
That's what I
I'm
figured.
just I'm in total denial of everything. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not ever going to die. I'll be never going to get sick.
Yeah.
I get all worked out. Don't worry about it.
The sick thing is the interesting factor because the guy bought the
Yeah,
building off. That's he had cancer and that's why he couldn't work anymore
yeah.
and stuff like that. And
Oh, wait,
that's
is this the episode where I cry?
oh yeah. But same thing. He was like, I'll just keep working. But if he had health insurance to his wife, who was a nurse and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I like when it comes to retirement, like I bought the building, so now I'm thinking like once it's paid off, there's 2 apartments upstairs. I could rent out half of it.
Yeah.
And so that's been my calculation, but that doesn't mean that's a surefire way to live your life.
No, that's a damn good. That's a plan. That's a
Yeah.
plan, I think.
It's more of a plan than I've ever had. So for 2 years, I've had a little bit of a plan, but yeah.
Actually, I was thinking when I got to retire, I'll move to Akron and mooch off my buddy Tim.
Yeah. We'll run a
Teach him how to light.
Well,
Teach him how to light at $100 an hour.
yeah, no, we'll run a highly profitable YouTube show called
Uh,
Large Marge had the photo for it, right? Yeah. What time is it? Should we
Muskrat said he has a hammock. What does he care? Exactly. I can sleep anywhere. Yeah, I got a big gig tomorrow too. Yay, me. Yeah.
what do you have
6
going?
hour 6 hour corporate outdoor event. You
Just
walk
an
around, take
event photography type, like company picnic type thing, or
exactly, yeah. And I got to do a group picture of like 200 people, so that'll be fun.
I hate big group photos. Even
I
not even
got
200.
I got the perfect thing for a group photo because the CEO is always there, is usually right in the middle, and you get everybody posed. Like everybody look here, everybody look this way. No. I said, Tim. Tim's the CEO. Let's say Tim. All right, everybody look at Tim. Tim, suck it in, and everybody laughs.
Ah, nice.
It works every time. The only problem is I shot this gig 2 years ago and I used that line. Now I got to come up with a new one.
Ah, there's probably none of those employees there anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. I'll try that. Yep.
That's what tomorrow at 1, I have someone bringing product to the studio. I think they're the automotive stuff. But then I have an event at 5:30, and I always try and avoid Wednesday 5:30 because at 6 is when me and Large Marge have been riding for like
Oh, that sucks.
6 years. So whenever one of those comes through, I'm like, I always weigh it. I'm like, this is like Wednesday is it's my weekend night. It's my one night a week where it's like I have a thing I do. But I'm like, it's the money. I'm a freelancer. You can't, and also the relationships. You don't want to give that to someone else because if you've established a relationship, you don't want to, I'm like, is it that important that I ride my bike with my friends that I also ride my bikes with all the time? So
True. My God. Oh, wow.
yeah, that's when you're like, oh, now I'm being a little privileged in my position,
White people's problems.
Yeah.
White
All right.
photographers' problems.
Yeah. It was great chatting again, Rick.
You too, guys. Thank you.
I hope I can pull off the Philly thing, and a couple other people had talked about it too, how they would love to get out. I know Funny Brad has talked about it. Again, like I was saying, like once you start to look at your season, summer gets short, so I think look to the fall, but I would like to get out there. I would like to ride
That October thing, if you want to do that, that'd be fun. So I'm thinking it's only a 20-mile ride, but we could ride from here to the city, do the 20-mile ride and come back.
Yeah.
That should be plenty for anybody.
And then if we made it, because that's enough of a drive for me to make it a few days and not to burden you for a few days, but we could do our own thing or,
And literally as many people as I can fit in this house are welcome to stay. So
cool.
Bring sleeping bags and all that stuff. So
yeah, I think as it comes closer, we could Discord that and figure it out if it works out for everyone. But awesome. Well, all right. This is a great conversation. Good night, everyone. And then today's Tuesday, so yeah, see everyone on Thursday.
Okay.
Shit.
Bye.
All right.
Okay, this time.
say shit.
Fitzwater photo.